Greetings and good time zone. I hope people are doing well today. I really want to dive into the flesh markets and discover what the hell's going on, especially with this guy, because he sounds like a jerk, potentially. Mostly also because these look like cages as well, which kind of invalidates what he's saying. But I digress. Ooh, I need to... Ivu has a 250 health. Damn. Back into this place. Loot. Where is the loot? It's probably up on top. There's the loot. How do I... Oh, there's some stairs. Some portals, okay. Ah, so you're the one that was hurting things. Okay. So the harm of ardent dreams. Oh, that's Ticula's first in command. Splits. Ooh. Hello. Don't run over the trap. Jesus. Okay. Don't have anything to put in there. A citizen is... Okay. I'm sure something highlighted just then. Over here. Oh. Oh well. That's probably something for later. I'm fairly sure this is the edge of the map that I can't get onto. Okay. Can't go through there, so let's go into the back road. I'll go through the back road again. Can't talk to anybody. I can talk to the slave. Sorry, my master won't allow me to speak. You just spoke. I mean, I kind of have to go through. Portal down. I've just received a shipment of slaves from the flesh markets. Half of them are defective, crooked, limping, and half dead. He cast illusions on them before selling them at the market. If I see that bastard again, I'll rip his liver out with my bare hands. Oh, you do actually have hands. Oh wow. Rumour has it that you convinced Minago to betray Baphomet, and now she's plotting against her former allies. You are a cunning one, aren't you? That's what they call me.
Careful now.
There's the trap.
I
Because
hope
there's
you appreciate
loot.
this. I am helpful, am I not?
It's the perception check. Oh, right, 34. I do like that it gives everyone a chance.
Done.
The islands floating in the air are not the byproduct of some crazy magic. It is the energies of chaos that endow them with their bizarre properties, and they're not even the most amazing thing that can be found in the abyss. Oh, this must be the Fleshmarkets proper. I love that the map changes as well. What? Jaws of the Jackal. These gauntlets grant a profane vigour effect and a +2 bonus to natural armour to all evil creatures summoned by the wearer of these gauntlets. If the wearer summons a Thana demon, they grant it a greater profane vigour effect and +4 natural armour bonus to AC. If the wearer summons any good outside creature, it will attack the wearer and their allies. Okay. Really don't summon evil creatures as far as I know. Damn, I wish I'd saved. Quick save just before. A grotesquely fat demon speaks to a demoness standing in front of him. His voice irritated yet slightly sycophantic. If you want to get these sweet Asimars for the 10,000 delights, cop up 50,000. Just look at how delicious they are. These girls haven't yet been whipped. Your clients will be clamouring for them, and after they become too worn out, they'll make a magnificent stew. Great. I'll give you 30 if you stop talking rubbish, Dunk. Or keep going, and you can steer clear of my palace of delights. You can pleasure yourself on your own, you fat chunk of rotten meat. Do you want to get on Shivaro's bad side? Do you really want that? The Asimar slaves standing nearby try to avoid looking at the angry demoness. Even in their miserable position, they retain the mark of inner purity and nobility inherent to their kind. Puffing himself up, the fat demon answers abruptly and angrily, 50,000. For these delightful, innocent creatures your shabby and worn-out demoness can't hope to compete with, that is my final offer. Stay away from the 10,000 delights. You can have your own little morsels pleasure you from now on, you greedy, horny piece of shit. Well then. The disgustingly fleshy demon. How many times are we going to call him disgusting? Greets you with a wave, his arm encased in roll after roll of fat. Allow me to present my living wares. The finest household slaves to serve you and entertain your body and spirit, and they can satiate even the most exquisite cravings. The demon accompanies his last claim and with voluptuous lip smacking, looking pleased. I'm just going to have a quick drink because my voice is already starting off rough. Yay! What were you arguing about with that demoness? She wanted to buy my beautiful Asimar concubines for her palace of pleasures, the 10,000 delights. Unfortunately, her common sense and good taste couldn't compete with her greed. She offered me a paltry price, next to nothing, instead of gratefully paying the full sum for these slaves, offering 30,000 for a group of innocent, pure Asimars shipped here with the utmost of care. No one has laid a single finger on them. No one has taken a single bite out of them. It's simply outrageous. Show me what you have for sale. Just feast your eyes on them, the most exquisite pleasure slaves raised in comfort and luxury at your service. They are well trained, neat, docile, and stand ready to become ideal servants for your manor. All of them are young and healthy, in a perfect state of ripeness. The demon bursts into sickening cackling, and then whispers to you confidentially. Of course, we have made sure that their tender flesh meets the expectations of even the most demanding gourmet. They have no inkling of what awaits them, so you need not worry about fear spoiling the meat, making it tough and bitter. Beautiful, athletic, and well-groomed young men and women of different races smile sweetly at you. Their cheerful looks aren't marred by the slightest hint of intelligence. These slaves remind you of happy and well-fed sheep grazing in the pasture. The slaver's eyes widen and he starts to speak, nearly hyperventilating. Just recently, one of my slave hunting crews returned, bringing me a most beautiful gift, a group of young, fresh, pure Asimar girls, full of mouth-watering innocence. All of them are beauties in their prime, caught with the utmost care, unwounded. Shamira will take an interest in them, I wager. Because of her origin, she loves having her fun with Asimars. There are countless ways one can use such a valuable acquisition, though if you ask me, the smartest way is to treat yourself to a medium rare fillet with rich, meaty gravy. The Asimar women look pale and scared, but even in captivity they manage to retain their dignity and refuse to let the demons savour their fear. As Dunk continues his nauseating commentary, they raise their chins higher and do their best to maintain cold, detached expressions. Such beauties should be enjoying life and delighting others with their loveliness, not bathing their faces in tears in the middle of a slave market. Darren casts a grim sidelong look at the captured Asimar women. His hand reaches for his coin purse. How much do you want for them? The demon pointedly ignores the count and looks only at you. Would you like to buy these girls? Well, we can negotiate a deal, but I warn you now, they won't come cheap. I'm going to ask him who he is first. I am Junk, the slave trader. When I was younger and much slimmer, I was a dashing raider. I spent my days abducting concubines from other planes for the harems of the most powerful lords of the abyss. My experience, however, has shown me that raising and training pleasure from slaves from an early age is a much more profitable and much less risky business. That's why I now own the largest and most respectable slave farm, where I breed representatives of various races from different planes, though I haven't entirely given up the raiding. His deceptively slow movements and soft folds of flesh fail to hide the powerful muscles beneath. This demon could likely lift a wagon with 2 horses by himself. There is a certain pragmatic elegance in the way these slavers arrange their everyday routines. Every trouble can be solved with the most simple and effective tool: violence, the legalized enforcement of obedience. I also need to just load something up real quick. Oh, okay, that's a different one. Oh, that's fine. Just making sure if I could kill this guy. I have to go. I'd be absolutely delighted to see you here again. Come back and we'll pick out the most delicate, graceful, and well-trained slaves for you. His tiny eyes hiding in the folds of his flesh intently study your figure. His tongue greedily licks his thick lips, revealing small but numerous sharp teeth. Great. I'm just gonna have a wander around. You can climb. Let's do it. Because there's loot. Always makes me think that there's other ways around when it moves like that. Ah. Zamira is here. That suture. Well, I had a feeling that was going to happen. Abhab. Okay, Master says he is delighted to behold Lady Samira and Lady Shamira. It's the great honour for him. How may he assist you? Epzamira is looking to buy some slaves. The best slaves. It's for an important job. Fuck. Oh, really? Allow me to present this fine specimen, an extraordinary, belligerent, destructive and vicious slave. He killed 7 hunters before his capture. Shut your mouth, meatball. Your breath stinks. I don't need gladiators or bodyguards. I'm looking for a pack of strong demons, ones who are not very bright and can obey orders. In that case, perhaps my lady would be interested in this batch of creatures recently captured in the lower city. They are all strong and quite stupid. Zamira, what do you want with these puny creatures? They're small fry, fit only to be cannon fodder for the Crusaders. I would suggest... Don't suggest anything. Just gonna get smacked. They seem fine to me. Finish the preparations, then send them to the harem of ardent dreams, and be quick about it. This guy again? Geocot. A dark-haired young man stares up at the ugly lump of flesh hovering in the air. Hello up there, I am blinded by your beauty. Please descend to this humble mortal and grant me the honour of a date with you. Beauty? Are you out of your mind? The young man smiles and raises a finger to his lips. Don't worry, he whispers. I know what I'm doing. The demon gives an indignant snort and begins to gurgle angrily. His tiefling slave translates. Master Sazakis says you have 10 seconds to get out of his sight, or he'll command his lackeys to gouge out your eyes. Alright, I can take a hint. I'm leaving. The young man backs away and jots something down in his notebook. Done. Excellent source material. Now I'll go have a drink or two in the tavern and get to work. What? It's another named person. Some loot. And the nature of the divine. I keep finding this book. Ooh, hide of a magical creature. Nice. It's used for upgrading relics. If I ever find the storyteller again. Okay, so the flesh markets aren't actually that big. Assassin's Guild. Okay. Let's do this real quick, because I need to get Suture's freedom. A demon who looks like a ball of lumpy, melting flesh hovers in the air. He clenches a whip in his hand. The demon emanates an aura of confidence and authority. He snorts sternly at a skinny tiefling standing nearby, whose eyes are skillfully sewn shut with black silk thread studded with diamond chips. The demon mutters something incomprehensible to you. The tiefling speaks to you in a soft voice devoid of emotion. Master Sazakis welcomes you to the Fleshmarkets, visitor from another plane. He noticed right away that you are a person of means. Though he himself has no interest in doing business with you, your presence benefits the Fleshmarkets, so Master Sazakis is prepared to spare you some of his time. This slave will interpret his words for you, for he loathes speaking in any language except the one used in his homeworld. The Suture's hideous face is marked with desperation. Overcoming his pride, he reaches out to you with his gnarled hand, beseeching your help with this humiliating gesture. The tiefling interprets another burst of snorting, this time addressed to Arushale. Master Sazakis is happy to see Lady Arushale again and wishes her pleasant purchases at the flesh markets. He regrets immensely that he wasn't informed of Lady Arushale's visit in advance, otherwise he would have prepared a special lot exclusively for her. Master Sazakis remembers Lady Arushale's preferences very well, and he would be happy to satisfy the wishes of such a discerning client. God. Arushale sounds calm, but you can see her hands have started to tremble. Please tell Master Sazakis that I have no interest in his slaves anymore. I won't pay for them, neither in gold nor in other ways. Ivu listens carefully, and just as carefully she examines the tiefling's sewn eyes, his loathsome master, and the surroundings of the slave market. Then, in a tone that brooks no objection, she declares, "Everything in this place is horrible, absolutely everything." Why did Hepzibah and Shamira buy your slaves? Lady Hepzibah is extremely secretive. No one knows what she's up to, and no one wants to ask unnecessary questions because Lady Hepzibah has already proven she's quite powerful. Snooping around her business could be dangerous. When Lady Shamira brings Lady Hepzibah with her and says she needs stupid but strong slaves, Master Sazakis never asks questions, and does not hold a grudge for the meatball nickname. Master Sazakis is very wise and shows restraint. One of the demon guards clearly grows interested in the conversation and unconsciously leans forward. Sazakis whips him across the muzzle with a lightning fast blow. The demon's head explodes like a watermelon dropped from a great height. The interpreter comments on the execution with indifference. Master Sazakis would like to remind everyone that unnecessary curiosity can be very harmful for servants, especially if it is curiosity regarding the master's business. I'd like to see your slaves. The tiefling's voice is emotionless and fails to convey the arrogant notes you hear in the demon's snorting. I'm afraid Master Sazakis must reject your offer. All his slaves were caught to satisfy personal requests by the esteemed upper city residents. Master Sazakis is the most influential of the slavers, and he can't afford to waste his time on something as pointless as negotiating with a stranger. Who are you, demon? The demon answers with a lengthy barking tirade as the interpreter listens carefully to every grunt. Master Sazakis comes from a remote corner of the abyss, extremely far from these parts. Practically no one in all Alishanera has heard of the magnificent place that is Master Sazakis' homeland. He would happily return there because that place is superior to all other realms of the abyss. However, Master Sazakis found himself fascinated with the concept of slavery. In his homeland, the idea of owning other sentient beings does not exist. The common practice there is to kill anyone who is not like you. Master Sazakis has spent a lot of time studying the sophisticated art of slave holding and has become the most respected slave trader in the whole of Alushanera. He is equally disgusting inside and out. Horrible, horrible demon. The most repulsive of all I've seen. I don't really want to start a fight because everybody could attack me. I understand. Are you Sazakis' slave? The demon bursts into indignant gurgling. Even without understanding a single word, you quickly conclude that he is displeased. Master Sazakis wishes you to cease your attempts to bypass him and communicate directly with his property. The provenance of his property is a matter of concern to Master Sazakis alone, no one else. I'd like to know more about the Fleshmarkets. Master Sazakis finds your curiosity commendable. He is willing to outline the basic principles of the Fleshmarkets and its... The tiefling falls silent for a while, listening carefully to the demon's croaking. Then he finds the correct word. It's hierarchy. He is also willing to explain the intricacies of the highly respected occupation of slaver. It would take a lot of effort to find a place more disgusting than this one, even here in the abyss. In the old days, my warriors and I broke many slave collars and led countless slaves out of the abyss. What is this place? This place is called the Fleshmarkets because here one can buy living and healthy flesh. Slaves for housekeeping, slaves for carnal pleasures, fighting slaves, sacrificial slaves, slaves of an edible nature. Every day hundreds of slaves are shipped here and hundreds of customers come to buy them. Where do you get your slaves? The majority of the slaves are captives seized during raids of other planes. Master Sazakis is happy to inform you that Golarion is one of our main supply channels. The Abyss itself supplies a fair share of slaves as well. Demons have no prejudice against enslaving their kin. Demonic slaves are more hard-wearing and last longer than slaves from most other planes. Who runs the Fleshmarkets? Master Sazakis has the honour of being the informal head of the Fleshmarkets because he's the main supplier to the upper city. All the individuals who dared challenge Master Sazakis' primacy renounced their false claims, became his slaves, and now proudly wear his personal insignia, carved into their faces with cold iron. With a demanding crack of the whip, Sazakis calls one of the demons standing nearby. The latter kneels hastily, obediently hides his eyes and extends his hand palm up. Sazakis seems satisfied with this display of obedience, so he lets the demon go by whipping him lightly over the shoulders and leaving a ruby red welt on his skin. As you may have noticed, Master Sazakis' authority here in the flesh markets is absolute. I see. Sell me that dretch. Sazakis begins to snort, spraying saliva. He babbles quickly, which causes short, uncertain pauses in the slave's speech. This dretch, like the other demons in this shipment, is set aside for Lady Hepzibah. Without a doubt, this lazy waste of flesh, caught today in the lower city, will never prove to be a useful worker, but he still belongs to his new mistress. She is a very influential person. Therefore, trying to deceive her would be disrespectful and dangerous, and Master Sazakis would never commit such a foolish act. He resents your suggestion that he is capable of doing anything of the kind. Master Sazakis is insulted and outraged. There are not many vices that can surpass the greed of demons, but pride is one of them. Imagine what tremendous power it has when the two are combined. As disgusting as it is for me to give this advice, listen to me. If this scoundrel feels insulted, offer him gold. Not as part of the deal, but rather as compensation for the insult and as recognition for his high status. Perhaps gold can compensate for the insult I've inflicted. The demon's grumbling abates slightly as a flicker of greed appears in his eyes. Master Sazakis finds your idea very reasonable. He kindly agrees to accept the sum of 30,000 gold coins to atone for the insult you've inflicted. Taking into account your unfamiliarity with local customs, Master Sazakis will not demand your hand or eye in recompense. For his part, Master Sazakis considers it undesirable to keep this dretch in his stock, for he was the cause of your disagreement. As a gesture of reconciliation, he would like to immediately release him and drive him out, so this unpleasant incident might be considered settled and forgotten. I'm going to pay 30,000 gold coins. Let's leave all grievances and misunderstandings behind. The tiefling translates Sazakis' satisfied snort. Though it is wholly unnecessary, you understand its meaning perfectly well. Master Sazakis congratulates you on a successful purchase. The dretch approaches you, glancing cautiously around. He mumbles in a quiet voice so that only you can hear his words. I have no idea why Hepzibah needs slaves, but from what I've heard, they don't live long. Becoming her property is a death sentence, no doubt about it, meaning you saved me, so I guess The suture appears confused. It seems this miscreation is not accustomed to being shown mercy, and simply doesn't know how to express his thanks. How were you captured? I've been wandering the lower city, searching for something. Never you mind what. I mean, that's not what I meant to say. It's a personal matter, yeah, that's the right way to put it. So I was roaming around chatting with all and sundry when the slave hunters appeared and started chasing us. They threw those who survived in a cage and brought us here. This is a typical occurrence in the Abyss. Social dynamics, it's called. The strong enslave the weak. What will you do now? With a gloomy glance at you, the suture gives a vague answer. I'll continue my search, I will. It won't be easy, but I'll prove to her that I'm smarter and wilier than she thinks. The dretch's expression is determined, even severe. What are you looking for? The dretch throws a suspicious glance at you. Don't ask, that's none of your business. Farewell. The suture hesitates, nervously scratching the back of his neck. He repeatedly opens his mouth to say something, but nothing comes out. Finally, he starts to mumble incoherently. You... Just be careful, that's what I'm saying. With a martyr's sigh, the suture turns around, relieved to lose himself once again in Alucionera's warren of alleyways. There's gotta be people that's actually selling stuff. It's Kurz. A tough-looking demon with a rough, cruel face and the hands of a seasoned warrior greets you with a grin. Looking to buy slaves, eh? Me, I've just sold off the shipment I captured during the last raid. I am Kurz, captain of the bloody bitch. Who are you? The demon stares at you in disbelief, then bursts into laughter. Who am I? I'm Kurz, known by some as Kurz got stabbed, captain of the legendary bloody bitch. I'm the most famous damn pirate in the Midnight Isles. You must be a landlubber who's never set foot aboard an airship if you haven't heard of me. Do you know Milara? That nut job? Ha! Her entire crew must be wimps and weaklings if they haven't slit such a leader's throat, or fed her to Ishia's beasts yet. You can't help but notice that despite Kurz's dramatic bravado, a spark of fear gleams in his eyes. Tell me more about being a pirate. What exactly do you want to know? The life of a pirate ship captain consists of 4 things: his vessel, his crew, his experience, and Pazuzu's patronage, of course. You already have wings of your own. Why do you need a flying ship? Kurz eyes you with suspicion, as if searching for signs of mockery in your face. Sure, and what do you propose I do with all the loot carried on my back? What about the slaves we took into the cargo hold? The ship is a big flying treasure chest, but it also provides a fair amount of cover from arrows and spells that rain down on us during boardings. Tell me about your vessel. Kurz grins proudly. You'll recognize my bloody bitch right away by the huge skull decorating her prow. We secured that trophy near Vazglar, and there was a great fight for it. Few other captains wanted to lay their hands on it as well. Aside from the skull, I've done good work on the bloody bitch. You can't find a better attack vessel. Her broadside can take a dragon's strike. Her 3/4 sails can catch any wind, and her ballista don't rely on lousy spears, only alchemical fire. What kind of crew do you have on board? The toughest rogues and cutthroats you could ever want. They're my hand-picked collection, each one as bad as the next. They're the most notorious rabble, the most infamous scoundrels you could ever find in the abyss. They'd sell their own mothers into slavery for a chipped copper. Turn on me? Never. Nobody else could love them a better deal than I can. If they ditched me, they wouldn't make it 3 steps before taking a knife in the back, so they've got no choice but to follow me to the end. How many ships have you plundered? Puffing out his chest a little, the demon offers a fanged, leering grin that then answers with all the cutthroat swagger he can muster. I need to yawn. I wouldn't mind, but I got a decent amount of sleep for once. Maybe that's why I'm yawning. The bloody bitch is well known in the Midnight Isles. Her black sail sows terror wherever she goes. I can't count how many poor sods I've sent to Dagon. I was leading the charge, sabre in hand, back in the days when Valexia was flashing her bare tits in the skies over Lucianera, and when Zyphorion, that old rapscallion, ruled the city. As for loot, the treasures that have passed through my hands. I spent them all on booze. Kurz beams with pride at this declaration. He's mentioned them once. Tell me a thrilling tale. The pirate grins. You like gory stories, eh? Fine. Once we were floating through Migog, when our lookout spotted the wreckage of a ship caught in a hurricane. So we decided to search for cargo, but instead we only found a sailor who was clutching at the wreckage. We fished him out, brought him to his senses, hung him up on the mast, and questioned him properly. Our ship's cook knows how to loosen tongues with his knife. Long story short, the poor sod spilled that he was a pirate himself. His ship had set sail from one of Alia's deserted islands, where they hid part of their spoils. We smelled a windfall, so we rushed to Alia. But Alia, that place isn't for the faint-hearted. Predatory vines, carnivorous flowers that breathe out clouds of poisonous pollen, and walking bushes that surround you, pounce on you, and sting you with thorns till you die. Oh, and did I mention the toxic springs? Or the flies that crawl into your eyes or your ears while you sleep and lay their eggs inside your brain, driving you insane? All in all, the place was a nightmare. We found ourselves right in the middle of it all. 3 times our prisoner told us where to check for the stash. Each time we dug, but all we found was dirt and bones. By the 3rd attempt, that damn island had already wiped out half the crew. We realised that arsehole was playing us, so we gutted him. You know what we saw then? All his entrails were covered with whitish mould and overgrown with some spongy fungus. His heart, his guts, his brain. The gunk was everywhere. According to our ship's dock, that fungus controlled every one of the sailors' steps. He got infected on the Lear. Then he left the island to lure in fresh fodder for the plants. We fled as fast as we could, but for a long, long time I couldn't believe those damn weeds got so smart they were able to trick us. You mention Pazuzu quite often. Do you worship him? Sure I do. Only total idiots don't worship the demon lord of the sky and winged creatures. Well, at least if we're talking about aeronauts. All the storms, wind currents, and beasts who feed on those currents, they all bend to his will. That's why I bombard Lord Pazuzu with my prayers as often as I can. I have no more questions. I have to go. May Pazuzu fill your sails with wind, stranger, but no more than mine. Venture Captain Gristoff. I'm going to quick save between all of the dialogue because I don't want to go through them all again. A lean old man with his back as stiff as a pikestaff casts a piercing look at you. His grey hair and luxurious sideburns grant him an imposing and significant demeanour. Greetings, I am Count Gristov Rolano. I have the honour of serving as a venture captain of the Pathfinder Society, heading the branch of the society in the Lucian era and its adjacent territories. If you need the services of Pathfinders, I can be of assistance. What? Casting a sharp look at you, Gristov hands you a sealed letter. I admit your appearance here did not surprise me, because I recently received this letter. It is addressed to you, and I have held it in anticipation of your arrival. What's in it? The tone of the venture captain is cold, like it's been just delivered from the crown of the world. I am not in the habit of reading letters addressed to others, and I have no idea why you would think otherwise. However, knowing venture captain Hillar, I would assume that it's about his persistent vendetta against a dangerous sorcerer called the Spinner of Nightmares. God, here we go again. How did Hillar deliver this letter to you? Gristov smiles with amusement. The Pathfinder Society has many agents across many different planes. They, along with a touch of magic, provide us with the most widespread and effective mail delivery service you can imagine. Take the letter. Handing you the letter, Gristov offers a formal nod. My duty has been done. To help the Pathfinder Society by providing funds. Did I have this option with Hillar? The Society has fixed charity rates, preventing corruption. I personally find this practice very wise. A donation for the prisoners of the Abyss is 50,000 gold coins. The price is high, but if it will give freedom to the unfortunate, so be it. Base profit is not worth more than a life. Yeah, I've made quite a lot of money, so handle this gold wisely. The Count respectfully takes the money from your hands. The Pathfinder Society is grateful for your help, Commander. The unfortunate folk enslaved by demons will glorify your name throughout the abyss. Tell me about yourself. I am a noble. I'm a noble, a good Asmodean, and a Pathfinder, who earned the honour of being sent with the most unwanted task to the most repulsive point in the world, and ready to provide you with a few good fighters. What else are you interested in? Who are you? The old man lifts his chin and carefully strokes his amazing sideburns. Christoph Rolano of Longmarch, a hereditary count of Cheliax and venture captain of the Pathfinder Society, at your service. The Pathfinder Society has long planned to open a branch in the Abyss. For obvious reasons, such an appointment didn't make anyone especially happy. However, as people of honour, we Pathfinders of my lodge couldn't let squeamishness stand in the way of duty. All of us volunteered for this mission, and then the Decemvirate chose me as the most suitable candidate. Why were you sent to the Abyss? The venture captain shrugs. To buy slaves, of course, or rather redeem slaves. The Pathfinder Society sent me to provide help to dwellers of Golarion who've been enslaved by demons. Every day I go to the slave market with a bag of gold, and I return to our shelter with a crowd of poor folks, whose freedom I manage to buy. Unfortunately, there are always too many slaves and too little gold. We send the ones we save to Golarion. Some of them are opportunists and fighters who were unlucky enough to be imprisoned. They are grateful to the Society and are ready to provide services to repay us for their rescue. When people who are looking for mercenaries contact me, my charges go to serve them, and the payment for their services fills our coffers for continued redemption of slaves. Okay. What you do is merciful. I personally think that an enemy has to be fought against, not traded with, but the management of the Pathfinder Society did not heed my advice. What's it like, living in the Abyss? Christoph scans the landscape slowly, with dignity, and then says demurely, Abominable. The Abyss is a savage place, where everything that can be designed in a wrong way is. Everything is clear. I have to go. Bye. A wear-long black mask. A stern-looking demon stands before you, bristling with what seems an arsenal of weapons, and his copious scars suggest he's been hacked to pieces more than once. His face is hidden under a grotesque obsidian mask attached to his flesh by thin straps ending in hooks. The hooks are threaded into the skin, and the wounds bleed profusely, as if inflicted mere moments ago. The mask resembles a sinister black mollusk enveloping the face of its victim. When he speaks, the slaver's voice is muffled. Greetings, stranger. I am Weirlong, legend of the Battle Bliss. Are you looking to buy some battle slaves, or do you need weapons for yourself and your servants? Show me the weapons you're selling. My gladiators come from a range of planes and are accustomed to fighting in different styles, so I have quite a wide selection. I am positive you will find something that fits your hand, no matter how many hands nature gave you. The slaver chuckles, pleased with his own joke. The items I have here are the best examples of Nehindrian weapons and armour. Why do you keep calling them Nehindrian? Rumours have been going around about some magical Nehindrian crystals that grant immense power to their owners. No one knows for certain where they come from or what they really are, but everyone desires them. Illusionera has become obsessed with all things Nehindrian. That's why everyone in Illusionera calls top quality goods Nehindrian now. Show me what you've got. Yeah, okay. 170,000 gold for a +2 weapon. Oh, never mind, I was reading mine. +5 weapon, that makes more sense. Um, the weapons that I can use. I think they are slightly expensive for some of them, like a +3 weapon. The +5s are good enough, but this? Eh. Longbow of Leeching Strike. Whenever the wielder of this +5 bleed longbow confirms a critical hit, the enemy suffers 1d6 direct damage for every 5 feet that enemy travels for 2 rounds. Involuntary movement included. Really good. Again, that is really good for a +4 weapon as well. Okay. Talking. Barding is not really a good thing for me. Because I... Ooh, gold coin from the Fleshmarkets. A gold coin from Illusionera's Fleshmarkets. The marks engraved on the coin depict another coin. I do want to buy this. Hello. That would give you +1 AC, effectively. Some greatness. This +4 breastplate makes the wearer's first spell cast in any combat bolstered, as though using the bolster spell feat. Okay. I wonder if it increases the spell slot cost, though. Flowing half plate. What does Regil have? Why does the full plate grant more max dexterity than the half plate? Basically get evasion. Okay. Belt of Bloodlust. This belt grants... Whenever the wearer of this belt lands a killing blow, they gain a +5 morale bonus on the next attack roll. It's not actually that great for the extra stuff. The +4 is good, though. Display of power. This belt of strength +6 grants its wearer a 15-foot aura that makes all enemies in range suffer a -2 penalty on will saving throws. bell to you wearing again? Assailants? Ah. Kinda like that. Just for the RP of Regil, if anything. This does give him AC though. Nothing else that I would really want to buy. Cancel deal. So now I can teleport here. Show me the ones you're selling. I'm selling death itself. Death lurks in my gladiators' hands, and in their eyes. They can kill so swiftly you will not even see them strike. They can kill so slowly, their opponent's death makes the spectators shiver in ecstasy, and they embrace their own deaths with such dignity that their names soar from the lips of the crowd into the dark sky, straight into the hands of merciful death. The gladiators, a mix of all races and ages, do indeed look tough and dangerous. Their powerful bodies, bloodthirsty gazes, and deft yet casual grips on their weapons shows them to be true masters of their art. They resemble a pack of predators at rest before a bloody hunt, where they will rip and tear, and gut their prey. The glances they exchange are amiable but not warm. For tomorrow each may have to kill the other in front of the screaming crowd. There is glory to be gained by fighting in the arena, you say? I am the method killer. There certainly is. The gladiator fights are the most popular entertainment here in Illusionero. There's no better way to acquire fame and glory than to step into the battle bliss and take another's life. If your slaves are that good in a fight, why don't they rebel and free themselves? Because he's that good in a fight. The arena is their home, the other gladiators their family, and the fight's their sole purpose in life. Fighting is their only path to glory and a carefree life of luxury. But to win in the arena, you need a distinguished and influential master who will provide you with an experienced trainer, good weapons, decent food, and skillful lovers to salve your wounds. But would such a distinguished and influential demon take on just any no-name wannabe? Of course not. That's why when a demon wishes to purchase a gladiator for the arena, they come to me, and the best fighters pay enormous sums to become my slaves and trainees. I am their only hope of making it to the top. Did I hear that right? People pay to become your slaves? It is a rare moment that I find myself lost for words, but this is one of them. Who are you? I am Whirlong Blackmask. I was the champion of the arena, and I fought and killed in the name of my mistress, Shamira. I worshipped her. I was her slave and her bodyguard. She was flattered by the many killings dedicated to her honour, and by the shouts of the crowd chanting her name. But then I had a dark revelation. I realized Shamira was not worthy of my worship. She owned me, but my true mistress was the one that entered the arena with me, her hand in mine, death. So I dedicated my next victim to her instead of Shamira. My mistress was enraged. She arranged a fight in the arena, one I had no hope of winning. I was hacked and cut, torn apart, choked, ground to dust by magic, and impaled on spears. But still, I did not die. My remains were stitched back together piece by piece. Death was with me that day, and I returned even more powerful. But the fights lost their appeal after that. An immortal gains no glory fighting mortals, So I left the arena and I no longer kill by my own hand. Now I offer my gifts to death by the hands of the gladiators I train. I take their names and their dreams, and in return, I give them weapons and the dark revelation of death. What is this mask you wear? The first champion fought wearing this mask. The final champion will fight wearing it on the day this world ceases to exist. In this mask I was invincible, and I conquered the battle bliss and made all Illusionera bow before me. I thought to pass it to Gelderfang, my apprentice, but despite his many talents in the art of killing, he loved his life far too much. He was afraid of death, too, frightened to fight me and take the mask. He is not a true gladiator, not a real champion, but no one aside from the true children of the arena is capable of understanding this. I have to go to quick save. I'll buy your gladiators? Smiling at the gladiators' bellowing battle cry, the slaver examines you with a sharp look. The straps of the mask tighten slightly, making the skin wrinkle. Finally he nods. You look genuine. You are a killer, I suppose. I can sell you my gladiators. 35,000 golds for 35,000 enemies they'll kill in your honor in the arena. Deal. I don't want to buy slaves unless I can free them. Hey, let's talk to Ramisa the slave trader. Wonder if you deal in slaves. Ivu, are you okay? The eyes of the translucent Marilith carefully observe her surroundings. It seems this is not merely an image, but a projection of the creature's consciousness, while her physical body is located somewhere far from here. Next to the Marilith fidgets a shriveled mandragora, which utters the occasional displeased shriek. Ah, a visitor from another plane. I am Ramisa, also known as Sloughed Skin, and I am no simple vendor, but a true artist of the slave trade. My warehouses currently stand empty, but we can always arrange for a custom order. What would you like to acquire? Perhaps your enemy's son or daughter, bound by magic and powerless in the face of anything you might wish to do to them? An attractive person who once dared to reject you? The little brat who bullied you as a child? Illusionera is the city where all your dreams come true. The Marilith licks her lips, especially if they are dirty, bloody, and sweet dreams of possession or revenge. And there's an ad playing. So I'm going to have a quick drink and a snack. chocolate. Camellia echoes the words of the demoness in a pensive voice. You could order anyone you want and make your bloodthirsty dreams come true. I bet many cannot resist such temptation. It is truly terrible. Once, when I was very little, an Azata stepped on my tail, and he didn't even say he was sorry. But if you think I would ever ask you to catch him for me, you are a truly foolish and unscrupulous demon. I would never deal with someone like you. If the memory still stings once I'm back in Elysium, I'll find that Azata and step on his tail myself. Oh, what a sweet and adorable dragon, and from Elysium no less. How cute. Don't try to suck up to me. I know a suck up when I see one. Ivu proudly turns up her nose. So what do you mean by artist of the slave trade? While others trade for material gain, I do it for art. Unlike others, I am not involved in the faceless shipment of goods. Each slave who passes through my hands has a personality. Each sale is a spiritual experience. Not long ago I sent my hunters to track down and capture a brave rebel fighting for the freedom of his people. And then I sold him, chained and dressed as a pleasure slave, to the tyrant who had enslaved his homeland. Some may call it cliché, but I call it a classic. So what I see standing here is just your projection? Certainly, it is not safe to appear in the flesh markets in person, especially for someone like me. You see, before I switched to this line of work, I was a humble gardener. I used to grow mandragoras. The Marilith pats her ugly pet on the head. It's a well-known fact that mandragoras grow if you water an ordinary weed with demon blood, or if you plant it in a demon's corpse. The allies, lovers and masters of those I turned into fertilizer are still searching for me. Thus I conduct my business remotely. In the same way, when I have slaves to sell, I first show their projections, and only after they are sold do I deliver them to the buyer. I'm leaving. I almost want to see. What happens if I tried to kill you? Oh. Okay. Really did pop the guy's head. Oh, ruh-roh, Raggy. The Cambion who gives you a smarmy bow looks like he once tried to split in two, then changed his mind. His chest is twice as wide as it should be, and double pupils stare at you from each of his eyes. Every time this freakish creature opens his mouth, an impressive goiter swells on his neck. His voice has an unpleasant croaking quality, as if a giant toad had taken up residence in his throat. Would you like to buy some fresh flesh? You can call me Raggy. I am at your service. Who are you? What are you selling? Everybody calls me Raggy, and the name's just fine by me. I'm the top vendor here at the flesh markets. No matter what the others think, they sell expensive classy goods where I specialise in rabble and riffraff. My goods cost 10 times less than what the others are selling, but I have 100 times more clients than everybody else. Everybody needs a slave. Cheap, maybe slightly defective, but still a slave. Big shots from the upper city prefer to do business with the others. But so what? The middle city feeds me much better. Raggy raises his voice for the last part. You notice that the demons standing nearby cast cautious glances at the insolently grinning Cambion. It seems this shabby specimen has some authority here after all. Besides, I don't just sell live goods, I sell the stuff that used to belong to these poor fools as well. You'll find some extremely valuable and interesting items among the loot taken during slave raids. With a casual nod toward Ember, the demon grimaces with disgust. Incidentally, I am willing to take this crippled waif off your hands. If you expect to sell her yourself, don't bother. No one wants to buy such a puny thing. But I can add her to my lot of Galarian slaves. Can you actually sell Ember to this guy? You are mistaken. I'm not for sale. Show me the spoils you've looted. Spore weapon. Enraged allies in the area, +2 bonus on attack and damage rolls. What cloak am I wearing? Okay. I kind of make them all enraged. I can buy another coin. I do kind of want the call to violence. But I also want to kind of buy all the slaves to free them. Alright, I can sell a bunch of this stuff. Everything isn't selling as much, I don't think. Selling as much though. Star knife, I'm not going to use it. All in all, they're going to give me money. At the end of the day. Sounds good to me. Where is the cloak? So it's still a +4, which is what I had, Cloak of Resistance, but then I literally enrage people.
We should prepare.
Inspired Rage. Okay. Show me your slaves. I can offer you a shipment of Galarian slaves. They certainly aren't in the best shape. Galarians are notorious for their fragility, but torturing them sure is fun. As Raggy grins, you spot at least 2 rows of needle-sharp teeth in his mouth. The Galarian slaves are clad in torn rags, their bodies emaciated, many have wounds and cuts. Their blank indifference to everything happening around them suggests these unfortunate lost any hope of escape long ago. Arushale's presence causes a rumble of discontent among the slaves. She flinches under their angry and hateful gazes. She opens her mouth to say something, but fails to find the right words and just sadly lowers her eyes. Winged bitch, what are you looking at? Seizing the moment and deftly spitting at the mephit in the cage, Raggy nods at him. If you wish, you can also purchase this little blighter. He won't be of much use, but you can entertain yourself for some time torturing him. He's sharp-tongued and quite resilient. I guarantee you'll spend several interesting and pleasant evenings killing this little freak. Chuckling, Raggy watches as the mephit wipes the spit from his face and mutters curses under his breath. The mephit's voice is angry, but tinged with respect. Oh, I want to buy them, but I also want to just attack and kill them all and set them free. Ember. It's probably going to be at the bottom, yes. Oh yeah, I don't even have that. Although I could just probably wear them to look cool. That'll do. Oh, I never read the letter. The letter appears in the rough but legible handwriting of a person who doesn't write often. Greetings, Commander. I am sorry to bother you with any requests when you are busy with a difficult and dangerous mission, but my situation is extremely serious. I have found the trail of the Spinner of Nightmares. Her agent in Neurosian fell into our hands and revealed during interrogation that the last known lair of the Spinner was in the Lucian era, in a block called the 10,000 Delights. Knowing the habits of the Spinner of Nightmares, I'm inclined to believe that she used to live in the heart of a giant brothel. My poor Lurie might still languish in this horrible place. I'm begging you to look for her or any traces of the Spinner. Great.
Let's head out.
Using hell for slaves. I just want to test this. It's probably going to backfire. Buff shot. Talk. It's time for you to die, you fat sack of shit. The fat creature lifts his thick legs slightly and stomps, making the ground shake. Then the demon starts moving in a surprisingly nimble and flexible manner, his fat folds moving fluidly in ripples of skin and flesh. A trainer's work is never done. I'll make a fine slave out of you.
Surrender or else!
He only has 42 AC. Conversation with what? The Herald senses that one of the commander's companions requires help. The commander must go to the Nexus to find out what is happening. Huddled together and wiping the demonic blood off their faces and clothes, the slaves stare at you in terror. Did you kill Daddy Dionk? You won't hurt us, will us? Take us to your palace. We'll obey you. We will serve you very well. Ember smiles sweetly at the slaves, and they respond with trusting, vacant smiles of their own. Don't worry, we'll take you to a truly good place. It doesn't look like any place you're used to. At first you'll feel uncomfortable, but you'll grow to love it. Camellia warily closes her eyes for a moment. Ah, a meeting of minds, I see. In the land of the witless, the half-wit waif is queen. You are free. I'm going to get you out of the abyss and take you somewhere normal. The slaves exchange confused glances. Save us? But why would you save us? We are very happy here. Perhaps we should return to your camp first and then we can have some fun. You'll like it so much you'll never want to leave the abyss. These poor souls, raised by demons like cattle for the slaughter, just spinning and spinning and spinning. You've broken their golden chains. At first they will hate the harsh world you have delivered them into, but only because they are so naive. I, however, celebrate your compassion. Sazakis's roar sets the whole Fleshmarkets in motion. Demons everywhere grab their weapons and rush toward you with bloodthirsty grins. It seems that every one of them hopes to win an ounce of the master slaver's favour by spilling your blood. Oopsie! The slave with sewn eyes nimbly produces a dagger that looks like a toy. He makes several confident swings. He seems to orient himself using only his hearing, and quite skillfully at that. Oh god, even the guards. I have no idea what's going on. I'm just gonna buy them all. I'll buy the Asimar slaves. Oh, I see you're a connoisseur. I'd like to warn you that these little birds will cost you a pretty penny. Their price scared off the madam of the 10,000 delights, but for Shamira, to whom I intended to sell these fresh Asimar beauties, 50,000 is spare change. I am willing to sell them to you for the same price. If we do not intervene, these women will be doomed by the celestial blood that flows in their veins. There is nothing more tantalizing for a demon than befouling, abusing, and destroying any being with ties to the upper planes. We have no right to stand by and leave these unfortunates to a terrible fate of torture and death. Deal. The fat demon glows with happiness. You won't regret it. In the abyss, goods like these are a rarity. I wish you the most exquisite enjoyment of your purchase. If you wish, I can give you an excellent recipe for braised shanks. Just send one of your household slaves along to pick it up. The demon winks at you, then looks at the Asimars with palpable longing. The slaves stare at you with a mixture of hope and fear in their eyes. Their faces drain of colour as they wait for you to seal their fate. I'm going to send them to that to Latverk, I think he's called. The Asimar women look at you, their expressions piercing. You see a mixture of gratitude and awe in their eyes. Thank you, stranger. We did not expect any help in this terrible place. We will not forget it. And they're off. Kinda.
I'm gone.
I'll let them go. By your pleasure, slaves. Slaver stretches his lips in a predatory grin. It's been a long time since I had last had near hindering goods such as these for sale. If you know what I mean. They'll cost you 25,000 gold coins. The slaves exchange pleased whispers as they hear the high price their master has asked for them. These poor mortals do not even realize they are no better than cattle. When the time comes for them to be led to the slaughter, their minds will not grasp that their kind master has reared them from torment and death. Anyone who makes a deal with a demon looks exactly like them in the end, a naive fool mocked by all because they do not know the knife awaits. Why did you call them Nahindrian? Smacking his lips, the demon answers in a saccharine voice. When we say Nahindrian, we mean of the finest quality, that's all. Everyone in this city keeps talking about some Nahindrian crystals that grant immense power, but no one can say what they really are. The only thing we know is that they exist and their owners suddenly become unbelievably powerful. But as long as no one knows what they really are, you can call anything Nahindrian, you see? Sure, we have a deal. Excellent. I strongly recommend keeping the slaves on a diet of local ocean mollusks. This will help them stay athletic and fit. It also gives their meat a pleasantly spicy and musky taste. The demon adds the last phrase in a whisper, shooting you a nasty grin. These poor souls, raised by demons like cattle for the slaughter. You have broken their golden chain. Yeah, I've already read that. He has nothing to sell. Oh, Kurz was just a pirate. It's fine. Weapons? Wait, not weapons. Oh, you had these. Surely. You have that. Hansa, you have strength? You do have strength. But I'm out of money. God. Damn it. I may just start selling a bunch of these, not this. This. Don't want short bows. I'm just going to actually sell things. I don't use a light mace. Throwing axes I still am going to keep though. Dagger for Walgif. It's a speed scimitar, but it's only a +2, so I'm going to sell it. Sell the Falcata. Radiance I'm keeping. This scimitar I'm keeping because I'm going to give it to Sealer. I don't have anyone using an Elven Curve Blade. I'm going to sell that finally. Battle axes I don't have anyone using because Greyboar uses dwarven hand axes or whatever they are. I'm gonna sell that. Sell the adamantine full plate +2 as well. Oh, could sell you. Delamere's armor. I'm gonna keep. I'll keep that. All round defense. +2, I can sell that. Physical perfection, while amazing, it's just a +2 right now. Don't summon things. Keeping you. I don't have anyone that has an arcane pool. Finally sell this. That is good. He's wearing... Yeah, that just gives him a lot more damage. It's static damage at that, which is always awesome. Keeping the cloaks. Don't have anyone that's wild shaping. And I can sell that. Keeping the helmet of the Abyss Killer, the Doom Slayer. There's my midnight bolts. A lot of ones of Cure Light Wounds and Cure Moderate Wounds. I'll keep them, whatever. So I have Bad Luck Tavern, Battle Bliss, Fleshmarkets, and then Baphomet's Coin. I'm going to buy this. Display of Power. Put it on you. She's going to be hilarious. Deal. Display of Power. It's going to be hilarious. Because you're always quick. Selling. Buy your gladiators. 35,000 gold coins. Deal. The gladiators bow before you with dignity. Their faces shine with bloodthirsty smiles. Where would you like us to go? To the Battle Bliss, I presume? You're going to send them to the Nexus. The gladiators look at you with surprise, exchanging whispers among themselves. Mistress, do you doubt our fighting skills? Would you like us to continue training in your camp? Under your supervision? Believe us, we're ready to conquer the arena. We'll prove ourselves worthy. Brothers and sisters, grab your weapons. Head to the camp of our new mistress. Double time, in full gear. If anyone falls behind, kill them. Death to the weak. Okay. Still have 194,000 gold. You had nothing to sell to me. Probably a bad idea sending them all to the Nexus. Let's see your slaves. Yeah, I have to go. Then let's go and buy from Raggy. By the Galarian slaves, the double pupils flicker with greed. After feigning indecision, Raggy finally states, 15,000 gold coins, I won't accept any less. I can get 15,000 selling those wretches as meat. Except, Raggy looks at one of the slaves who can barely stand. With a subtle motion, he throws a spell that slits the unfortunate's throat as if he had used a serrated knife. Raggy spits in disgust at the body on the ground. He doesn't even bother to wipe the splashes of blood from his face. That one was completely defective. It'd be shameful to offer it as to a respectful buyer. Ivu crouches and growls softly. There are not many things that can anger the guileless dragon, but it looks like the slaver managed to do just that. The heavy silence of the hand of the inheritor is almost palpable. It fills the air like the calm before the storm. Then the angel's voice explodes in your head, roaring and furious, like a battle horn. He killed him like an animal. Oh heaven, I knew I was descending into the depths of evil, but there must be a limit. There must be a limit to it all. If not today, then someday. I will descend into this den of sin to punish the murderers and save their victims. Yeah, I'm gonna kill this one. Out of nowhere, a knife with a wide, jagged blade appears in Raggy's hand. Spinning the knife skillfully with his two numerous fingers, he leers at you without fear. You want to dance? Taking advantage of all the fuss, the Mephit deftly picks the lock of its cage using its pointed tail as a skeleton key. Once free, it makes an obscene sound at Raggy, winks at you mischievously, and immediately takes off into the air. Where did I last save? Oh, wait a minute. I want to buy the Mephit, though. They don't last long, but the price is right. Tell me that Mephit. I won't ask much for this nasty piece of crap. 10,000, and watch your fingers. This little prick bit off a few of mine when I was chasing him. The Cambion shows you his hand. It is hard to miss the fact that the number of fingers is still higher than usual despite the missing ones bitten off by the Mephit. Bring it over. With a gesture, Raggy opens the cage by magic. You notice his fingers have far more knuckles than is typical, which makes his hands look like large spotted spiders. The Mephit climbs out of the cage, then gazes at you with its mean round eyes. So you just bought me, eh? Meaning I'm your slave now. That's funny. Why don't you just go... You miss the colourful ending of the phrase because in trying to avoid your retribution, the Mephit spreads its wings and soars upward, becoming nothing but a dark speck in the sky within moments. Except he just goes the same direction. Raggy laughs nastily. How awkward. You should have grabbed him as soon as he was out. Here, take this as a consolation prize. This is a ring of near hindering courage, an extremely valuable item. All the best gladiators wear these. With a wicked gleam in his eye, Raggy bares his sharp teeth in an insolent leer. Ooh, I could fail this. You knew that would happen. Give me back my 10,000 or else. I just made it. Hey, relax, it was just a joke. I was just teasing you a little. Here, have your gold back. Everything fine now, friends? The demon hastily hands back your gold. His tense grin tells you that the two of you are most certainly not friends. I'll buy the Galarian slaves, and then you'll kill one, and then I'm just gonna murder you.
Attack!
Oh wow, you have a death. Phoenix Blast. Well then, that did quite a lot of fire damage. Oh, there we go. Oh, god damn it. That's a braces of archery, which I think you have. I have. No, veteran marksman's braces. Okay. He really didn't have that much. Whenever the wearer of this ring is being attacked with a ranged weapon, they gain a +2 morale bonus to AC, 1 extra attack of opportunity, and their speed is increased by 10 feet for 1 round. That is actually pretty good, but I don't know who I would give it to. Don't think I want to give it to anybody, really. Hey, slaves. The slaves stand huddled in a tight circle. Knives, picked up from the ground, glint in the hands of some. It is almost as if the scent of demon blood has imbued their exhausted bodies with new strength. They are clearly no longer willing to simply watch their lives be bargained away. One of them, a young man with an injured leg, flashes a bloodthirsty grin at you. So, what's next, ma'am? Should we run or should we face death here? We won't go back in the cage. We've had enough of this demon filth. Regil doesn't raise his voice, but it acquires the steely edge of a commander addressing their troops. Who is the leader of the group? Are there any among you who have served in the military? A young man salutes with the painful pride of a defeated but as yet unbroken soldier. Corporal Grotverg of the Vanguard Scouts reporting for duty, sir. The young man throws a sharp look at his comrades, and they seem to immediately change. Their backs become ramrod straight, and the bleak submission in their eyes is replaced by that familiar soldierly tenacity that seems to say, screw you. As you were, I can see you've been through a great deal, but the reinforcements are finally here and you can proceed under the commander's lead. Regil salutes the freed soldiers, swift and abrupt like a sabre strike. Darren looks at Regil with a sly grin. Hasn't it crossed your mind, Paralyctor, that among these slaves there may be those who, horror of horrors, chose to surrender to the demons, and now you're saluting them? The Inquisition will deal with that back on Galarian. Those who were captured while unconscious, who fought to the end, or were abducted against their will, they won't have any trouble. Those who succumbed to fear and surrendered will be executed, but at least they will die by the hand of their fellow soldiers instead of as slaves tortured to death by demons. A decent death. You can take refuge at my camp. Iomade bless you. Thank you for standing up for us. We'll never forget your kindness. The ragged slaves huddle in a tight group and hurry toward the exit. They are frightened and tired, but you can see a glimmer of hope and defiance in their eyes. You did as every true Galarian should by saving the people from your homeworld from slavery. Thanks to people like you, my heart holds no doubts that we will emerge victorious from this struggle.
I'm gone.
Oh, I missed one completely. Crebus. Or Crebus. Tall, thin vendor is swathed in a loose black robe. He is not a demon, but it is possible to determine his race. His expressionless and hairless face is covered in tattoos and looks as if it is made of wax. His eyes are motionless. As you approach, the black figure almost doubles over as he sweeps into a low bow. The vendor moves with a supernatural delicacy and grace impossible for a human. He extends his arms, also covered in tattoos, toward you. The ink on his palms comes to life and forms the words, "Greetings, I am Crebus, vendor of magical lunatics." Sounds like my people. The voice of the hand sounds contemplative. I can sense shadows, evil shadows that once served their old master. Vaxus, whom I fought valiantly but had not the strength to defeat. Beware this one, champion, for he is linked to powers both formidable and cunning. Something inside you awakens and casts a fiery glance at the slaver. You can see the darkness curling under the thin layer of his skin, or rather a shadow resembling darkness, a demon woven of shadows. Show me your magic wares. The slaver gives you another low bow. One of his eyes suddenly rolls out of its socket. With a neat, gentle movement, Crebus touches the eyeball and returns it to its normal place. And then he points to his wares. Oh, some boots. Okay. I already have one of these technically. While wielding this ring with a sign of Baphomet, you can summon 2 CR14 half-fiendish Minotaurs 3 times per day and they will fight on your side for 10 minutes. However, if you die while wearing this ring, they are summoned too, but now as enemies. Okay. Whenever the wearer of these boots casts the same spell for the 4th time during the day, their next spell becomes quickened, as though using the quickened spell feat. Okay. Ring of Imminent Demise. Whenever the wearer of this ring makes an attack of opportunity, the enemy must pass a Fortitude saving throw DC 26 or be knocked down. The ring also grants a +2 competence bonus on attack and damage rolls with two-handed weapons. Regil. Thought about this. Phantasmal Guide. This +5 Ghost Touch Quarterstaff allows its wearer to cast illusion spells as if they were 3 levels higher. Okay. I do want this. This not so much, although I would pretty much give it to Ember. $110,000. Sell this. Yeah, screw it. $86,000. I think I might sell these. Actually, no, I'll keep them just in case. Don't think I'm ever going to use these, because they would just be on me and I don't charge. Dayram, what are you doing? Joel, new ring for you, but which do I replace? So ring of protection +3 as well is what I need to take into account. Get you some boots. Okay. Quick save. Let's talk to Crevice. Who are you and where did you come from? 3 words appear on the vendor's palms. Crevice from everywhere. The secretive stranger smiles lifelessly and shrugs. His soft, flowing movements are so smooth as to be almost indiscernible, as if he were not a creature of flesh but rather of melting wax. The slaver opens his mouth wide and you see neither teeth nor tongue inside. The ink on his palm forms the word, I can communicate. What kind of slaves can you offer? With a slight nod, Crebus points to a group of slaves standing nearby. All of them are completely motionless, their backs unnaturally straight. They seem to be drugged. Their eyes are entirely black, without a hint of pupil, and in the depths, tiny blue sparks flicker like stars in the night sky. From time to time, some of the slavers utter something uncanny or barely comprehensible, then fall silent again. Tiny ink glyphs begin to appear rapidly on the slaver's palm as if drawn by a skilled scribe. My lunatics, magical ingredients for ritual sacrifices, dissolved in blood, fermentation finished, distillation finished, deposited into practical self-propelled storage units inside the slave's body. High magic potential. The goods were examined and certified by esteemed Willardus, approved for trading. I can sense a darkness inside them, not mundane darkness, which is merely the absence of light, but an embodied darkness that begets evil and possesses awareness instead of being emptiness and nothing. What cursed substances did he pump into these unfortunates? Keep an eye on them, for the darkness inside them waits for the right moment to be born into this world. What have you done to these slaves and why? Snakes made of letters crawl over Crebus's hands. They are no longer slaves, they are vessels of magic. Their bodily fluids were drained and replaced by potions and decoctions imbued with energies. Their dried mummies were filled with the dampness of magic, and their dehydrated brains were filled with the mysteries of the universe. Top quality, Nehindrian, as they say here in Illusionera. Buy your lunatics. It's probably going to be expensive. Okay. The slaver gives you a false, emotionless smile. Intricate symbols appear on his forehead, twisting and merging until they finally form figures you know. 25000. Fine. Crebus's mouth falls wide open. Any human who tried to imitate his grimace would find their jaw badly dislocated. With delicate, neat movements, the vendor places the gold into his black, gaping maw, handful by handful, until he swallows all the money you've paid him. Then he makes a delicate gesture toward the slaves and gives an approving nod. A line of letters runs over his face. Don't delay using them. Magic is unpredictable. The lunatics don't seem to realize they have a new owner. They continue to daydream quietly, staring at something inside their minds and sometimes whispering inexplicable things. Champion, heed the advice that I give you. Though I do so with a heavy heart, do not let these unfortunates into your camp, for darkness has branded them with its ominous mark. They pose a threat, and my heart tells me that any attempt to show them mercy will lead to great loss and bloodshed. Ah. I'm going to listen to him. You are free. Your words make no impression on the lunatics. Perhaps they don't even understand them. The words on the vendor's palms read, "They cannot be set free." Do you understand me? The unfortunates poisoned by Krebus's magic potions ignore your words. They continue to stare into the void with their eerie black eyes whispering. Suddenly, one of the lunatics turns his head slightly toward you. He looks through you with huge black eyes that lack pupils. White motes in their depths resemble stars. The lunatic opens his mouth and speaks to you in a clear voice. You have a star in your heart, a strong one. It's beautiful. What happened to you? The lunatic's hands start to move, with a grace that seems impossible for a mortal. His hands begin drawing something in the air. Finally, the lunatic starts talking. His hoarse voice is distinct and clear. Everything inside has boiled away and now it's empty, as dark as a well. From the bottom of the well you can see the stars, even when the sun is high in the sky. We have boiled away and now we see the stars. Lunatics continue in the area. I've got a quick save. I just want to see what the Hand of the Inheritor says if I say go here. The lunatics obediently turn and go where they are told. Their hands move through the air with grace, and their unnaturally straight backs seem oddly inappropriate here. In the abyss, the plane of distortions curves in capricious shapes. Probably going to regret that. But I'm good, I want to save them. Yeah.
Follow my steps. Let's head out.
Oh, portal up. It's like, why aren't they going up? Because it's not a ramp, it's a portal.
Let us
There's
be careful.
another portal? Oh, this one. I want to go back in here and see if anything weird has gone on with the freed Asimars. Because I don't trust the guy, not because I could see. The cage was in the back. Greetings, good lady. Did the prisoners I freed manage to get to your house? Thank you for your mercy and generosity. I have sheltered and cared for them to the best of my ability. Being enslaved was a huge shock to these women. Despite being among friends, they still struggle with the consequences of their ordeal. The girls you freed remain silent. Their eyes hold a quiet and grim resignation that wasn't there before. Yep. Incubus Butcher. The demons examine you, their gazes both avaricious and imperious. Their leader is a misshapen demon whose facial features exhibit not even a passing acquaintance with symmetry. Issues a commanding bark. Shut up, everyone, and get on the ground. On your stomachs, turn out your pockets, perhaps we will settle for taking your gold and spare your lives. But you, my sweet morsel, will be leaving with us, in pieces. The demon grins malevolently at Latverk. Behind the chatty demon, a huge Vavakia stares sleepily at his feet. A large I'll try that again. A large cloudy crystal sticks out of his chest. Several smaller crystals have broken through his skin in several places, like young saplings bursting forth from the earth's embrace. A slimy fringe of thick red saliva hangs from the monster's slack jaw. He gives a surprised snort and then grunts shyly at you. Who are you? The demon with the lopsided face spits on the floor, then replies cockily, We're the best in the Assassin Guild. Mess with us and we'll mess you up. Why did you come here? The demon's finger, as crooked as his ugly mug, points at Latverk. This Asimar misfit has made a certain someone very angry. And there's an advert. I'm gonna wait a little bit then, before I carry on. And I'll have a quick drink. I still need to work on my microphone settings like I was planning on doing this weekend and never got around to doing it. I keep tinkering with them every now and then because I just want to get things a little bit better. And hopefully not rely on gain too much. Just checking what I need for the secret ending as well, again. So I need hindering crystals, and I realize that it's zooming in on my game as I'm scrolling. Okay, so that's how I get one. Ah, okay. Okay, I see. Right. Anyway, the demon's finger, as crooked as his ugly mug, points at Latverk. This Asimar misfit has made a certain someone very angry. So angry they put a large bounty on his head. Which is why we're going to gut him, festoon this dismal hovel with garlands made of his entrails, then play ball with his stupid little noggin. Points at the Vivacia standing behind the demons. Who's that brute tagging along with you? This? Oh, this here's our gouger. We found him in the sewers below Alucinera, barely breathing. We were going to cut his throat, but he's so addled. He's tame enough. And mighty strong. Someone must have scrambled his brains real hard. Now everybody knows not to screw with us, or we wake Gouger up and then they're done for. The demon glances at the Vivacia with mingled pride and wariness. You're not assassins, you're just common rabble. Fail, god damn it. I rolled a 2. The demons respond with jeering laughter, showing you with graphic gestures precisely what they're going to do to you and what anatomical consequences it is going to have. You will regret coming here. We weren't paid for you, but since you won't let up, we might as well take you out too. Get her, Gouger. The demon takes a wild swing at the Vivacia's side, slashing it wide open. Drops of blood fly in a wide arc as the talkative bandit leaps nimbly away from the giant, whose eyes light up with unbridled hatred. The monster gives a deafening howl.
I will defend my dream. Surrender or else.
Those? You're using a different staff now. Just start casting burning arcs, please. In fact, hang on a minute. Meta magic 2, burning arc, item. Do this one. 7. Write the spell. Okay, and then I kind of need to do 6s as well. 1 second. DC 29, yeah. Do 5 as well. Because she gets a bunch of extra damage. I also want to kind of do Scorching Ray. Okay. Ember, just cast a bunch of these. Let's see what happens. Well then, that went a bit easier than I was expecting. The demon squeals, desperately trying to wipe away the blood gushing from his snout. In a surprising turn of events, a blow during the scuffle must have set his nose straight. Wait, missus, don't kill me, I'll tell you everything. It was Red Mask from the Bad Luck who came up to us and gave us the money. Who sent you? We don't know her name, everybody calls her Red Mask because that's what she always wears. We have no idea who or what she is beneath the mask. She sits in the Bad Luck all day, guzzling booze like there's no tomorrow. Who is this Red Mask? Damned if I know, some kind of woman, definitely not a demon. She's one of yours, an outsider, but she's got an edge to her, and her mask is scary as anything. What do I make? You know what? You're a crap assassin. Filth like you doesn't deserve to live. Latvert folds his hands in a gesture of prayer, wailing in utter despair. I beg you, please protect me. Unless she is stopped, Red Mask will get to me, and even worse, to my wards. I do not fear death, but these girls must not be hurt again. I cannot put an end to Red Mask's depravity, but you can. I appeal to your mercy. Find her and stop her once and for all. Who is this Red Mask? I haven't the slightest idea. No doubt some villain displeased by my attempts to save my kin from slavery. Perhaps a dark soul that revels in crime and the suffering it brings. I have never met this creature before. I have. I'll deal with her. The Asimar allows himself a weak smile. You have a generous and courageous heart. I will be praying for your success. Yeah, but first I'm going to loot all of this. Nothing really good. Okay. So there's loot up there, there's loot here, as the world shifts. I need to go back down to the Bad Luck Tavern. Oh, that was empty. Lower City. Oh, I can actually just teleport there. Never mind. I forgot about that.
Tread lightly.
So I'm guessing that's the way up to this, potentially, with these two things. I actually need to go in here though and talk to Shamira. That's the task I was set to do yesterday. And I've just been buying up all the slaves and items. First time here, a fearsome looking succubus steps forward, blocking your path. Are you sure you're welcome here? This is the harem of ardent dreams, the place of Shamira, chief demoness of this city. After Nocticula, of course. But when did Nocticula ever care about our petty concerns? Bottom line, this palace belongs to the person who really runs everything around here. Got it? I wish to enter. The demon shrugs. You are known in the city. I don't think Shamira would deny you an audience. Come in.
I'm gone.
Oh, that was easy. It's actually not that big. Chimera the Ardent Dream. Okay. A red-haired, beautiful demon sits majestically on the throne, an aura of bright light blazing around her. It's not the gentle, life-giving light that shines on Galarian. This light blinds, withers, makes a person burn with fever, draining their strength. Like how a guard is just stood in the lava. Or it is an actual statue. And who do we have here? The latest wander from another world coming to seek my patronage? Chimera throws a casual glance at Arushale and raises an eyebrow in surprise. So, the rumours were true. Arushale, you really are making friends with mortals now. I must admit I found it hard to believe such a worthy daughter of the Abyss had fallen so low. Chimera falls silent but receives no answer. Well, not that I really care. I have a few questions. With a sigh, Chimera hisses irritably under her breath. Curse Nocticula's hospitality for bringing these strangers from other planes to my city and my harem. I want to know more about Nocticula. Pursing her lips in a smug smile, Chimera answers with venom in her voice. What exactly are you expecting to hear from me, beyond what any other residents of Illusionera could tell you? Yes, I am closer to Nocticula than anyone else, but do you really think I'll spill her secrets to you? Our Lady in Shadow doesn't like to be discussed behind her back, and the scope of her realm, the entire Midnight Isles, proves that her anger can be extremely dangerous. She is worshipped on many planes, including Galarian, right? At night she sometimes comes to insane rapists and murderers and paints in their minds pictures of immortality and horror, masterpieces of lust and despair. She is the first succubus, the most powerful and most seductive, the murderer of countless demon lords and usurper of their abyssal realms. Of the bodies of her victims she climbed to unbelievable heights, and now she stands far above her loathsome brother, Sokokbanoth. Thus, she has proved her victories were gained not just by the means of her power, but also by her great intelligence and willpower. She was strong, beautiful, and free. It sounds like a beginning of a fairy tale, Camellia says thoughtfully. Or a bad novel. Come now, sweet Camellia, don't fret. I'm sure your own fairy tale could be far more beautiful. Oh, Count, you haven't the faintest idea what my happily ever after entails. Camellia permits herself a thin, mysterious smile. What kind of a harem is this? Chimera snaps irritably. What do you think? Because I am Chimera, the ardent dream, the chosen lover of the great Nocticula? Every time she grows wary of plots and conspiracies and craves wild passion and warm caresses, she comes here to her harem. I've seen you with Hepzibah at the Fleshmarkets. Tell me about her. Hepzibah is an honoured guest here in Illusionera. I am not going to discuss her with every stranger I meet. How did you achieve such a high standing? You don't know my story? This explains why you're not on your knees before me. I was once a celestial being, and my fiery wings carried me from the upper planes to insignificant little worlds like your Galarian. I gifted fantasies and dreams, kindled flames in the wild minds of dreamers, and I loved it. Sometimes these fantasies took shapes too daring and unbridled, or so it seemed to me, but I made no effort to stop it. A dream is a bird, not a horse. You can't restrain it, you can only hurt it with your reins. The dreams I sowed were becoming more daring, bolder, and with them I changed as well. One day I rejected the limits imposed on me by my masters. In the world I was visiting, a wildfire of dreaming broke out, a dream so daring and bold it could come to fruition only through great atrocities and monstrous immoral deeds. I could have stopped it, but I didn't. I was mesmerized by this great vision. I didn't return to my world, as I would not be accepted. Instead, I descended into the abyss looking for someone who would truly appreciate me and the dreams that I bestow. Nocticula noticed my flame blazing over the dark waters of the ocean. She came for me and shrouded me in her shadow. That night was very memorable. Since then, I have served her and have been her closest friend and her right hand. Do you really hate Asimars and kill them brutally? Shamira smiles, looking very much like a large and hungry cat that has just spotted its next victim. Oh yes, it is an incomparable pleasure to gradually deprive them of everything they once had. First their hope, then their noble appearance, their innocence, and finally their life. When they scream, renouncing everything they once believed in, their masters, their gods, their heritage, it is music to my ears. Shamira's eyes narrow, her expression unkind. Do not for a moment think I am unaware of who stole that batch of young Asimar women from me, the ones who'd been shipped to Dunk in the Fleshmarkets. I'll remember that, Galarian. Shamira responds with an icy smile. I was happy to satisfy your curiosity, you annoying and talkative mortal. I came don't want to really piss them off. I came here seeking your patronage. Shamira looks you up and down with a contemptuous expression, then answers with a scoff. So, what use can you be to me, you foolish little mortal? The most powerful demons serve me. What can your pitiful self offer me that they can't? In your mind, Shamira's voice sounds calmer, though it is still arrogant. In truth, there is one thing you can help me with, Galarian, but the others mustn't know about it. Work for me and I'll grant you a share of my attention and patronage. No doubt you have already heard of Nehindrian crystals, objects of astonishing power that grant their owner incredible abilities. Everyone in Alushanira knows they exist, but no one knows what they are or where to get them. No one except that smug cow Hepsamira. I want you to find out what they are. My advice is to start searching in that pile of refuse known as the Lower City. Ask for Zyphorian, my predecessor, now a beggar. If that pathetic wretch is still alive, he may know something. Now go and don't bother returning until you have the information I need. Here, take my mark to the arch near my palace will let you in. So the archie. I don't want to waste my time waiting while you wind up your way back through the streets of my city with valuable information. Your pack becomes a bit heavier as if some new item has appeared inside it. The hand of the inheritor addresses you, an undercurrent of alarm in his words. I see greed in the eyes of this fiend. She is ready to offer you a deal, and I sense that more than idle interest lies behind it. We both know Nehindrian crystals can make demons immensely powerful. We are pursuing Hepsamira to prevent her from creating and unleashing upon us an army of mythical monsters transformed by these crystals. Yet, if you reveal the secret of the crystals to Shamira, we risk simply trading one enemy for another. Our mission demands that we make concessions, but it does not mean we must blindly obey every demon's request. Weigh each of Shamira's words, remember how cunning she is, and do not let her turn you into a tool she can use to commit atrocities. Armor your heart God, I'm yawning so much today. Armour your heart and do only what you must, not what she, with all her promises and charms, will try to convince you to do. And be prepared to find a knife in your back at any moment. So you and Hepzibah aren't friends, I take it. In your mind, Shamira's voice answers with an arrogant scoff. Be friends with that miserable cow? Of course not. I'm courting her to learn her secrets, but it's a constant struggle not to put her in her place. Baphomet's minions are far too bold here in Olutionera. Tell me about these crystals you're so interested in. You haven't heard of Nehindrid crystals? Ha! Are all Galarians so stupid and unobservant? They are purple crystals. Possessing them grants immense power. Unfortunately, only high-ranking servants of Baphomet know where to find them or how to use them. They use the crystals to gain tremendous power, and now they strut around Olutionera like they own the place. Why should I look for Zyphorian? When I first heard about the crystals, it reminded me of the last days of Zyphorian's rule. He was Nocticula's right hand before me. He was plotting a coup, and I was spying on him to turn him into Nocticula and take his position. I remember that he was trying to get his hands on a purple crystal of some kind, and that he eventually succeeded. I didn't pay much attention at the time, but the current situation makes me think perhaps it was a Nehindrid crystal he was after. If so, Zyphorian might know something about them. Where should I look for Zyphorian? There is a note of disgust in Shamira's voice. In the depths, if he is still alive, the gravity of Nocticula's punishment would have dragged him to the very bottom of Olutionera. Dig through the garbage, talk to the vagrants and beggars. You surely don't expect me to do it, do you? Why did you choose me for this mission? Shamira answers with an exasperated sigh. Because you are neither a demon nor a resident of Olutionera. You are a wildcard, an insignificant Galarian. No one is interested in your exploits, and you will not draw on any unnecessary attention. You are not bound in service to any demon, and therefore if you dig up any information, you will bring it to the one who will pay you the most for it. That is to say, me. You won't run to your master because you don't have one, at least not here in the Abyss. If I gave this task to one of my servants, I could be sure of only one thing, that they would sell the information about my interest to my enemies, and then, if they learned anything about the crystals, they would use this information to benefit themselves instead of bringing it to me. Everything is clear to me. I am not doing this because it locks me out of the secret ending. Or the full secret ending. Wonderful, because this conversation is beginning to bore me. Less of your arrogance, you have no idea what powers I command. I have to go. Go now and come back when you have something useful. My time is precious, and I can't waste it on every mortal who fancies a chat. Okay. It's a cool throne. Not gonna lie.
Follow my steps.
Ooh, hello, loot. Notes on a ripped paper. I'm going to take it. I should actually just read it through this though. No, just in case it gave me anything. I've read that. I keep getting this book. The nature of the divine. Okay,
Let's head out.
so I I have a lot of stuff to do. To making friends. And 10,000 delights, okay. That's where I needed to go in this entire place first. Where is the 10,000 delights? Caravan Dreams. Oh, there it is.
Decide already.
Um, which would be the closest to get to? Well, let's just go back here. I never went in this portal either. And there's a trap? Oh, okay. Do want to get down here. Oh. That's why there's a trap. Because there's loot. Pick the lock, Camellia.
I hope you appreciate this.
Would if there was more than loot than that.
Done.
The inhabitants of Illusionera seem to enjoy the abundance of lava around them. Demons are not immune to fire. They just like to live close to such a destructive element.
I'm gone.
Okay, let's go back. I really hope for Rogue Trade that they give you access to more than one log window, because I always like the dialogue text in one window and then the combat text in another. Are you T-posing now? Fair enough. 10,000 delights. That's where I needed to go in the first place. You see a massive, beautifully decorated door. It appears impregnable. At eye level, an elegant inscription reads, 10,000 delights. In smaller letters, another inscription reads, a gift from Valexia the wonderful to Shivaro the beautiful. Examine the door and figure the best way to open it. The door looks solid and sturdy, but anything can be broken. The deceptively simple lock is likely enchanted. It would have been reckless of those who put the door here not to protect it with magic. You're probably wondering how to pick my... The door mocks you. You're probably wondering how to pick my lock. Well, don't bother, many have tried it before. But go on, I could do with a laugh. I want to try it just to see. Hey, get away from me. What are you doing there? You pervert. That's disgusting. The door finds you poking around inside the lock extremely unpleasant, even painful. Finally, the lock clicks and the door says in a hurt voice, you filthy beast. Well, okay. Wait, Arushali stares nervously at the door of the building you're walking past. Do you know this place? This is a brothel called the 10,000 Delights, the biggest and the most popular one in all of the Lucianera. Yes, I know what it is. I have some unfinished business in there. Of course, I understand. All kinds of business are conducted there, not only pleasure related. I'd like to ask you about something. If you have to go in there, please go without me. I don't want to see the inside of that place ever again, and I especially don't want to meet any of its denizens. Why? This is my former life, and I would prefer to leave it all behind. In the past. My old acquaintances, accomplices, clients. I don't want to run into any of them. Damn it. Usually in the party. Alright, if I go in there, I'll go without you. Thanks. This entire city is filled with bad memories for me, but this place particularly so. Does it give me the option to change party members out? Or do I just go straight in there with her? Yeah. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna accept what she wants and respect her decision. Apparently when you respect people like that, they don't really care. I don't want to camp. Group man, no. Do I really have to? I really have to go back to Nexus and come back here. There's got to be a portal close by, right? Right?
I'm gone.
There's no portal here. Oh, hello. Look, a lizard from Elysium. It's just begging to have its wings plucked and its tail torn off. Don't you dare touch Ivu. Hey, why are you teasing me? I'll get you for this. Oh no, you didn't. Ember covers her face with burned hands in horror. Little Ivu, she's been kidnapped. My sympathy lies with the ones holding that creature captive. We need to do something as soon as possible. Sweet Ivu shouldn't be left on her own, especially not here in the Abyss. The Abyss is fraught with danger. But why do the brightest souls fall prey first? We must find the Dragonling. There is no other option. A familiar hazy apparition appears before you. Early sunset is reaching out to you again. Selena, what just happened? I sensed a surge of power. Your power. It burns hot like a fever. Could you explain more clearly what you sensed and how? Sorry for the noise as if my microphone's picking that up. There's some DIY going on. I came here to study your power and deal with its chaotic surges. It was not difficult for me to trace it to the moment it manifested. So what happened? Ivu was abducted by demons. The dragon? Ah, now I understand. She's the thread tying you to Elysium, and she's inextricably linked to your power. Early sunset is silent for a moment, clearly lost in thought. Arushale listens intently to the words of early sunset, a pensive expression flickering in her eyes. Will you help us, Master Early Sunset? Of course, dear child, of course I will help. What an alarming situation. We need to speak as soon as possible. I'll wait for you at the former rift in the Midnight Fane. Go through... Did I go up here? Oh, that's to another area of a city, okay.
Follow us.
Assassin's Guild. How do I get to the Assassin's Guild? Or is it just down here? Oh, it's probably hidden. Yeah, there's a door. Think there's corpses. Huh. Says the Assassin's Guild is where? It's up here. Did I just get... Oh, it's a person through the wall. Okay. Yeah, let's quickly run around here. Because this should portal me down. Oh, this is where Dunk was. Yeah. I've already been up here. The Assassin's Guild is listed. Just nowhere to get to it? Oh, we all fell. Oh, it's DC 42 and I have a plus 31. That would explain it. Okay. So we need to go to the Midnight Fane because I want Ivu back immediately. I want Ivu back yesterday. So I need to find a portal. There's a portal. There's a portal. The demon looks bored out of his wits. He shifts his attention to you and barks. What do you want? I want to go through. You want to visit the rat's nest? Sure, suit yourself. Hi Mikey, how are you today? I hope you're well. Let's go to the Battle Bliss. There's a lot of things in there. I like how the quest is "Where's my dragon?" This really could have been like, "Dude, where's my dragon?" Or in this case, it could be like, "Duke, where's my dragon?" or "Duchess, where's my dragon?" My friend, it's been so long since we spent time together. Wouldn't you agree? We haven't even gone for a stroll. I have missed your company. Are you all right? Yes. No. Camellia wets her lips and harshly exhales. I'm quite well, but there is a way to improve my well-being 100-fold. Alright, hint taken. Where do you want to go together? And please you understand me. No one understands me better than you. Camellia bares her teeth in a predatory smile. I would like to suggest a little adventure. Take me to the brothel. Are you serious? Have I ever given you cause to doubt my seriousness? Camellia raises an eyebrow. My request is not as simple as it may first appear. A faraway look appears in her eyes. Mireia is demanding blood. Her whispers are growing ever more insistent, becoming overwhelming, muddling my thoughts, stopping me from thinking about anything else. We need to help her, Selena, and I know how. In the 10,000 Delights there is a special service. It is only offered to those who already know of its existence. Deep below the brothel there is a place where there are no limits. Do you understand? Camellia wets her dry lips. What's more, this service entails making a pleasure slave of the person your heart desires above all others. I would like to seize this opportunity. All we do here is fight and kill. Isn't that enough blood for Mireia already? Camellia sighs and begins to explain, like she's explaining a simple truth to a child. To feed Mireia blood, I must perform a particular ritual. Select a victim, cut him open from neck to navel, and wait for the life to leave his body. Then I lower Mireia's amulet into the still warm flesh, and then I take a piece of that flesh inside myself. You already know how it works. If it includes waffles, yeah. Camellia has other ideas. She's kind of a psychopath. You forbade me from killing your subjects in Dresden, but here in the Abyss it's an entirely different matter. We're not even in your lands any longer. What difference does the death of one unknown pleasure slave make when the fate of all Galarian might depend on that death? Hold on, shouldn't Maria be the one to select the victim? In the brothel, she'll just have to accept whoever we're given. And anyway, why does a spirit from Galarian need the blood of someone in the Abyss? Camellia's answer does not come immediately. Yeah, because you're making crap up. You see, Selena, the Abyss has completely addled my little Maria's mind. Now she simply craves blood. Any blood. From whatever source, even from someone not of Galarian. The brothel promises to turn the slave into whomever we wish. We shall do this and offer Maria a choice. You're very well informed about the brothel's secrets. How did you learn about them? Let's just say I made inquiries. Alright, I'll go with you to the 10,000 delights. Camellia's mouth broadens into a happy smile. Oh, my friend, I'm ever so pleased to hear that. I knew I could rely on you. Okay. Look at how quick I am. Whee! Wait a minute. Where is everybody? Is the hand of the inheritor? Here, far from the eyes of strangers, I can assume my true form, but in Illusionera I will remain hidden. It seems this sorrowful and unsettling place will be what we call home, at least for a time. Minago warned me about the danger that the closed portals pose. Before we move on, we need to take care of that. I am not well versed in such matters, but perhaps we should set a trap for the demons near the dormant gates, in case they attempt to activate those portals again. Ooh. What is our next step? In Illusionera there is no one as powerful as Shamira, the right hand of Nocticula herself. It is she who rules the city while her inscrutable mistress is away. As sad as it is for me to admit, we must try to gain her favour if we want Illusionera to take us seriously. How well known am I among the denizens of Illusionera? Many know that a Galarian has arrived in Illusionera and that she possesses some special powers and talents. Tell me honestly, what do you think of the one you call the Champion of Galarian? I would be lying if I told you that I don't observe you with some trepidation. Sometimes I wonder what will happen if you falter, for power and responsibility represent the most difficult trial of all, and many righteous souls have failed to pass it. Can you heal me? Let the flow of light that pours upon you cleanse your soul of all the memories of filth and blood that the Abyss so generously shared with you. So you got rid of corruption.
Tread lightly.
Where is everybody? Ah, there's the weird slaves. Nenio! Skilled gladiator leader. Weird slave, Galarian slave leader. Nenio. It's time for the experiment. I hope these words inspire as much enthusiasm in you as they do in me. What's this experiment about, Nenio? What are you doing now, you utter psychopath? You see, I have decided, though dead would be a better term, to address an issue which up to now I preferred to avoid due to my total ignorance in this sphere. Nenia lowers her head in embarrassment. I realise it's hard to believe that I, a person of, let's skip the false modesty, superior intellect, could not know something so simple, but it's never too late to fill in gaps in one's knowledge, right? I'm talking about friendship. To be honest, at first I planned to assign the writing of this article for the encyclopedia to a co-author of some kind, but then I met you, my loyal follower, and suddenly I thought I could write it myself. Nenio seems to have reached the limit of her courage, and she looks away. So you've never had any friends? I see no sense in them. Hold on, so you're trying to say that you consider me your friend? You misunderstand me. I don't need friends. I have no desire to spend my time on them when I could spend it on new experiments and discoveries. Nenio explains this to you as though she's speaking to a 5-year-old. I just want to learn what it is like to have friends. For the encyclopedia, nothing more. I realise that you would like to consider me your friend. Who wouldn't? I'm a scientific luminary. After all. So I do apologise for disappointing you. Well, if it needs to be done, we'll do it. Let's get started. I'm glad you've agreed. Many would have considered my request too personal and refused. It's good that you're above such squeamish sentiment. Here I've made a list. I based it on my observations of individuals around me and on my personal knowledge of the topic, which, I have to admit, is far from comprehensive. She hands you a crumpled piece of paper. Study it well. We'll start as soon as you're ready. How to be a friend. A checklist. Do we have to follow this list? Denio looks at you with disapproval. You're trying to say that I made it for nothing? I've developed a perfect methodology that involves all the mechanisms of friendship between two individuals. But by all means, sure, let's just abandon the list. Read the list. Point number 1. Friends smile at each other. You raise your eyes to Nenia, who has already fixed a malevolent grin on her face. The kind that would make you soil yourself if you saw it in the dark of night. Respond with a brief smile. Keeping the unnatural grin on her face, Nenio hisses through her clenched teeth. You called that a smile? Come on, try again. Give her a wide smile. Your eyes bore into Nenio's, and she stares right back as you both grin as widely as possible. A minute passes in tense silence. She massages her cheeks with her hands. I never imagined being a friend was such an exhausting business. So, what's next on the list? Read the list. Point number 2. Friends gossip about their other friends. Oh no. Oh, I've made some preparations for that. She produces several pieces of paper from her sleeve. Come on, let's get to it. Who are we going to gossip about? It's funny that it's not in like alphabetical order or order of who I got first. Okay. Urushale. Excellent choice. So, what do you think of her? I love her, because I do. Oh, how interesting. Incidentally, yesterday I saw her. Nenio picks up a random piece of paper and reads it. Strutting around naked. Do you have any idea who we're even talking about? Nenio becomes a little embarrassed, but only a little. No, I don't make a point of remembering those I travel with. That's why I prepared these universally applicable pieces of gossip. God damn it, Nenio. She raises her fist with several pieces of paper clenched in it. Doesn't sound like her at all. Really? Excuse me, I'll try again. Yesterday I saw her. Nenia picks up another random piece of paper and reads it. Drinking from a puddle. This is ridiculous. I fully agree. This all seems like sheer stupidity to me too. But how can we learn that stupidity is stupid without doing stupid things? We need to see the experiment through. I know people who live by this quite often. Sometimes it's myself. She gives you a satisfied nod and stores her papers back in her sleeve. Alright, stage 2 is now complete. What's next on the list? Read the list. Point number 3, friends drink alcohol together, and then it says no longer required. Because we have already drunk alcohol together. Oh, she did. Oh right, I should cross this point. I should cross out this point. I wrote this and then I checked the encyclopedia and recalled that I've already conducted that experiment. And judging by the same encyclopedia, especially by an odd stain on that particular page, it would be unwise, to say the least, to try and repeat it. Point number 4. Friends sometimes argue. Oh God. A new heap of papers appears in Nenio's hands. You are uninterested and disinterested in this experiment, and you can't even tell the difference between those two words. Maintain a skeptical silence. You're such a freak that even Rovagug feels sorry for you. Maintain skeptical silence. Your mouth stinks so terribly your backside's envious. Maintain a skeptical silence. Your head's only suitable for use as a receptacle for food. I want to see how many they prepared for this. And I know there's an ad playing, I just think it's hilarious. Maintain a skeptical silence. Hey, I'm running out of insults. Come on, join in the discussion. Remain a skeptical silence. Nenia looks at her papers somberly, then pulls them and hides them in her sleeve. You're a fool. Continue to maintain a skeptical silence. Nenia sighs. Fine, that's enough. I think I've bickered enough for the both of us. We can be considered friends now. And on that note, I conclude the 4th part of the experiment. What's last on the list? No. Point number 5. Friends sometimes copulate. Oh yes, that. Nenia sighs. Take off your underwear. Not all friends have to do that. Is that true? Are you sure? What an unexpected and interesting piece of information. I must confess, I wasn't so thrilled about this whole copulation idea from the start. It's so nice that science does not demand this sacrifice of me today. This thoroughly awkward experiment is finally concluded. I have learned what it means to be a friend, and now I can write an article about it for the encyclopedia. Nenia rubs her nose with a pencil. I am happy that it's over. I am once again convinced that friendship is the most foolish of all the occupations. You did it all wrong. Friendship is more than just smiling, gossiping, bickering, and sex. Is it? We've concluded all the assigned actions typical for two friends. Of course, I could have compiled an extended list, which would have included joint food ingestion and senseless banter with the aim of showing each other in the least attractive light, but how would that change the situation? Do you know what I will write in the encyclopedia? Friendship is a set of primitive rituals intended to help individuals forget about their loneliness. Yeah, that's pretty much it. However, I have no interest in that. I see my loneliness as a sign of my uniqueness. The one who leads the way is always alone. Now I have time to answer your questions. Come on, ask away. Leave. Hey, Rachel doesn't want to talk. Neither does Wendowag. To the caves, which I do want to go to. Darren wanted to talk. Oh god. Such an awkward camera angle to get to him. Ah, Baron Feldspar, it's so good to see you. You look a tad petrified. I hope everything is rock solid in your life. Oh god, he's put items. Is that my hat? My dearest Princess Peridot, you look stunning. You almost managed to eclipse Countess Petronella's debut of last year's season. You certainly bested her in your magnitude and your gravity. Darren sits in a circle of stones, making small talk with a perfectly serious expression on his face. When he notices you, he stands up and offers you his hand. Okay. My dear ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce my beautiful companion. Here she is, the crown jewel of the evening, Selena, the heroine of the crusade. Sure, let's play along. Baron Feldspar, Princess Peridot, how do you do? I can always count on you, Selena. Darren winks at you. He looks around his social gathering of rocks. Life has failed to delight us lately. Quite the opposite, in fact. It has thrown us into the darkest plane in existence, surrounding us with legions of repulsive demons and dragging us into a struggle between forces we, or at least I, do not understand. If that's how things are, so be it. If life begrudges us opportunities for fun, we must make our own. You seem very emotional. Is everything all right? Everything is perfectly fine. Nothing has changed at all. Darren smirks. This whole story was a little too much from the very beginning. The stakes too high, the secrets too serious. Oh, and we keep stumbling over them more than I'd like. What am I doing here? I have never really cared for high politics or games between forces beyond my ken. He gives himself a little shake. Look, Baron Feldspar here agrees with me, and he's tough. He's a tough, silent type who rarely expresses his misgivings. If you wish, I can invite him to a dinner party when we are back in Dresden. Would you like that? He's a craggy fellow, but a fine conversationalist. Not even the... not even the abyss can hurt us. Yeah. We are literally standing on the corpse of a slain demon lord, in the middle of an archipelago composed mostly of other slain demon lords and legendary monsters. As vistas go, this one is far from inspiring, wouldn't you say? Beings of immense power perished here in droves. So what hope do we mortals have? Ah yes, I almost forgot. You are no common mortal. You are a heroine. You possess mythic power. You were chosen by the gods, and so on and so forth. Darren smiles acidly. What did I do to wind up in the company of such an extraordinary personage? You sure you were alright? Ever since we got to the abyss, you haven't been acting like yourself. Sometimes I have this terrible creeping suspicion, Selena. Terrible and probably preposterous, too. It almost seems as though you genuinely care about me. Hilarious, isn't it? You figured me out. I do care about you, always, except all the times when you're driving me mad. Darren smiles deviously. Some dishes are only improved with the addition of spice. A dash of madness makes one's emotions deliciously intense. Something strange flickers in Darren's eyes as he answers, choosing his words carefully. I should hate to become a burden to you, or a threat. The brighter the sun shines, the darker the shadows we cast. There I go, speaking gloomy nonsense again. Demons take it. Let us return to the company of our hard-headed guests. Let's forget all about all. Let me rewind. Let's forget about it all. Darren kisses you back with enthusiasm, then says, after catching his breath, I cannot say I find the abyss terribly inspiring, but let's spend some time alone together. I really hope no demons fall on our heads and spoil our date. Last time we spent 18 hours. Camellia is still buffed. Oh, my personal chest is here. Great. Okay.
I'm gone.
Don't think there's anything... Oh, you're here. Everyone is so strange here. No one wants anything from me. It's great. I have to go. Yeah, there's nothing up
Follow
there
my steps.
that I haven't already seen. So we talked to Camellia. Yep. Social. Social is drawing something, but when he notices you, he hurriedly folds over the paper, I'm guessing. Slight spelling mistake. Don't tell me you managed to find some beauty in the abyss. No, cringing a little, Social shows you a few sheets of crossed out sketches, but you can still recognize the vistas of Illusionera in them. I tried, but I can't. Not here. May the goddess forgive me, but it's beyond my powers. Struggling for inspiration? The priest shakes his head. My drawing. It's just not flowing the way it normally does. This place doesn't inspire creativity. I need to talk to you. Of course, how can I help? Thank you for talking to me. Oh. Darren looks rather distracted. He's staring into space as though he's listening to something deep inside himself. Finally, he notices you and his lips quirk into a nervous smile. So many people have cursed me and told me I'll end up in the abyss when I die. I suppose I've rather deftly subverted their expectations by getting here while I'm still alive. You don't like it here, do you? Can't you see that I'm afraid? More afraid than I've ever been in my entire life? Darren asks in a grim voice. And believe me, I'm no stranger to paralyzing fear. We are in the most atrocious and macabre place imaginable. Moreover, we're practically surrounded by demons. Curse them all. Vile, rotten creatures who can experience something approaching joy only when torturing mortals. You can't even imagine how glad I am to find myself in their domain. Treat this as another adventure. In my world, an adventure is getting totally smashed with a couple of apprentice mages who've just got the hang of basic teleportation spells and waking up several thousand miles away next to someone you've never clapped eyes on before, someone who might turn out to be a Varisian saber swallower or a dragon in human form. But this? I'm still willing to consider this an adventure, especially since you're here. You shall have to stand in for the saber swallower, the dragon in human form, and the apprentice wizards who failed to master teleportation. All of them at once. Okay, what do you say to spending some time alone with me? Cannot believe I'm saying this, but this blasted abyss makes me recoil at the very thought of intimacy. I just can't relax at all, as if demon hordes are waiting to ambush me around every corner. Oh yeah, bye. Save so I don't have to go through the dialogue again. Ember? Ember is bobbing her head and humming a tune. She greets you with a carefree, cheerful smile. Her wandering eyes linger on you for just a moment before darting off again into the distance. Do you really think the demons will listen to you? They listened to me, didn't they? I told them what I wanted to say. They must have forgotten it all right away, but what if they didn't? What do you want to discuss with Nocticula? I don't know, I just want to see her with my own eyes. Maybe then I will know what to say. Okay. Sealer. Oh. I will learn the weight of my sword. I will have faith in the inheritor. I am the first into battle and the last to leave it. With her eyes half closed, Seela whispers the words of the oath of Iomede's paladins. Trailing off, she opens her eyes and sighs. How did we end up here? I never would have imagined I'd find myself in the abyss. How are you holding up? I'm hanging in there. I don't feel good in this place. The air stinks like something died, and I'm having trouble sleeping. I keep waking up at night. I think I hear someone being tortured nearby, pleas and cries echoing toward me. So I wake up and listen, but there's nothing. I keep thinking about everything, praying every day that the souls somehow abducted from the Crusaders weren't brought here. The abyss will kill them or infect with its madness, even without the demons' help. Seeing this ocean of evil and injustice before me, it's tearing me apart. So many innocents are held captive here, and torrents of ruinous darkness flow from this wretched place to the other planes. My mind is tested to the limit every day I spend in the abyss. Iomade, help me hold on to it. We've overcome everything we've faced so far. We'll get through this as well. That's right. Thank you, Selena. I've always had faith in us, and I will keep having faith, but sometimes a girl needs a few words of encouragement. Bye! Greybar and Woljif. Of course these two are together. Really dealt with Woljif in a long time. Show me what you can get now with your Thiefling connections. Is it still the same? Oh, no it isn't. Why? Why is it always double axes? Give me a great axe for God's sake. Unceasing slaughter. This belt grants its wearer a +4 enhancement bonus to dexterity and constitution. Whenever the wearer of this belt lands a killing blow, they gain a +2 bonus to dexterity and constitution scores for 3 rounds. Okay. Right, fair enough. The Crimson Banner. While this item is active, all critical hits made by you or against you are automatically confirmed. That doesn't seem like it's worth 300,000 gold. It would be worth 300,000 gold if it was just the first part, but all crits are automatically confirmed against me? No, 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 no. While wearing this +4 studded armor, you have total concealment against all ranged attacks, weapon and touch. Whenever you receive a critical hit from a ranged attack, you gain DR 10 for 1d3 rounds. However, receiving a critical hit in melee combat makes you prone for 1 round. Okay. Grey bar. Okay. I would have thought you'd want to say something.
Let's head out.
I do need to go to the Midnight Fair. So let's do that. Oh. Didn't ask me for my party setup, so this mound must be a safe area. No, it... What? The commander's longtime associate has arrived in the Abyss and has a suggestion for how to find Ivu. He's waiting in the Nexus at the former rift known as the Gates of Midnight. Did I just miss him completely? Everyone go back in the portal.
Let us be careful.
Okay, the Gates of Midnight? What are you? This place has been sacked now, yeah. So confused where they want me to go for this. He's waiting in the Nexus at the former rift known as the Gates of Midnight. Oh, he's inside one of my pets. Selena, finally I've had time to think everything over and I know exactly what we need to do to find what's been lost. Though the situation is difficult beyond belief. When you lose something in Illusionera, you rarely find it again. What can we do to save Ivu? First, we need to find her. Under no circumstances should you conduct inquiries within the city or otherwise draw attention to yourself. The kidnappers will know you by sight. No, I will have to conduct this search myself. Of course, I cannot appear in my true form in Illusionera. It would create, early Sunset chuckles, excessive agitation among the demons. But I am skilled enough at transformation magic to disguise myself as an inhabitant of the Abyss. How are you going to search? In the most simple and elegant manner. I will go to the Fleshmarkets disguised as a powerful demon and declare that I want to buy a dragon. Many threads of influence and information converge at the Fleshmarkets, even if the denizens of that place know nothing about Ivu's disappearance. They will stop at nothing to find out where she is, steal her away from her kidnappers and deliver her to a waiting buyer. We may not even have to lift a finger. What should I do? Stay close at hand in case things go sour. The demons may recognize me or try to trick me or even attack me, so be there and be on full alert. Everything seems clear to me. Tell me when you are ready to go to the city and I will begin my mission. Arushale, who's been listening to the conversation with some excitement, suddenly looks up. Without shifting her gaze from early sunset, she quietly sings the tune of Starward Gaze. A very sweet song, child. Thank you, Master Early Sunset. Arushale smiles at him. My heart hurts because of Ivu, and I just wanted to express my concern in some way. Songs are good for this. Arushale waits another moment, glances at you, then falls silent. I'm ready to start looking. Excellent. In that case, I need to get ready. Everybody kill him! Well, how do I look? Your approach lacks creativity. You could pretend to be an attractive succubus or incubus. That would be extremely unwise. Most succubus, though certainly not all, are subjects of Nocticula. An unknown succubus would raise questions. Much safer to portray a demon from another part of the abyss, though the demon should be powerful enough that others would be too afraid to betray him. At least not immediately. About our plan, I will head to the flesh markets immediately and talk to the merchants about buying a dragon. Go there and be prepared for any surprises. See you there. I'm gonna go there right now. No, that's the wrong place. Well, I should probably rest at some point.
Follow my steps.
Here's the portal. This is how I can choose party members. Flesh markets. I want Ivu back now. Some are chests are locked, some are trapped, some are not even chests at all. And some of those chests are in my army. Still buffed, right? Yeah, you still have... That's a lot of hours left on your buffs. Sunset, there he is. Early sunset, disguised as a demon, nods at you imperceptibly, but aloud he barks, "Out of the way, mortal." Let us begin. Early Sunset's voice drips with lazy contempt as he addresses a tiefling slave whose eyes have been stitched shut. Slave, inform Master Sazakis that I have come from afar and I will not waste time bowing and scraping. I serve one whose name even the mistress of this city utters with trepidation, and I am in search of a dragon slave. Ideally, one with a pleasant disposition. It would be more suitable for its intended purpose. Clutching a whip, the demon floating in the air gurgles something in a strange dialect, and the tiefling speaks in a monotone voice. Master Sazakis expresses his apologies, but he does not conduct business with strangers. His goods are reserved for the most powerful demons of the upper city. The voice of Early Sunset falls to a dull, angry whisper, and you cannot hear what he says. Yes, I can. You can hear the end of Early Sunset's conversation. It seems he embellished his words with a demonstration of his magical abilities, so I'm almost ready to consider that response a sign of disrespect. The demon holding the whip turns nervously in the air, and the tiefling hastily translates. Master Sazakis did not mean to show disrespect in any way. Master Sazakis is sorry, but there are no dragons among his goods at this time. Master Sazakis can arrange a custom order if you wish. If the desired product is found in the next few days, I will return and pay any price. Souls, gold, it matters not. The one I serve is not constrained by means. But lest Master Sazakis, hurry. Illusionera is not the only place you can look for live goods. And as a gesture of respect in return, I will give you some advice. Strengthen your security. Your current arrangements leave something to be desired. Moving away from the demon with the whip, Early Sunset gives a subtle shake of his head, just enough for you to notice, then he moves on. Translucent apparition of a Marilith demon makes a beckoning gesture with her upper pair of arms. Do you have business with me, handsome? I see in your eyes that you are looking for me. Remisa Shedskin. I am looking for a dragon slave, a dragon of pleasant disposition. I serve a great master and his wishes are law. An interesting desire, but you should know that I do not undertake simple orders and transactions. I am an artist, not a merchant. Therefore, tell me, the Marilith moves forward, tell me why the one you serve needs a dragon. You are wasting my time, Shedskin, but so be it. Some people eat only intelligent, good creatures. Some of them value dragon meat most highly of all, especially when consumed over time. Dragons are tenacious creatures and can survive a long time, even as their limbs are cut off one by one. Fascinating. The Marilith's breath quickens. She makes a few gestures with her hands. Hey, silly lava, did you hear what this unusual customer just requested? Yeah. Going to eat me, are you? I hope you choke on my little bones. Shut up, lava. Think about the future that awaits you, or rather, that doesn't. As for you, my wonderful client, if this specimen suits you, let's discuss the terms. Sneak up closer. You managed to go unnoticed and overhear some of the conversation between Early Sunset and the Marilith. This is the location of my hideout. I will enchant the door to let you in. Once you're there, you will be able to inspect and sample the goods. Good, I hope your warehouse is well guarded. I wouldn't want the dragon to escape or be freed. After finishing the conversation, Early Sunset gives you a subtle nod. The voice of Early Sunset suddenly rings in your head. Selena, I have learned everything I need to know. The riddle was far too easy. Ivy was kidnapped by Remisa's hunters to be sold. A typical story in Illusionera, and many who come here as guests end up slaves at the Fleshmarkets. Anyway, I know where she's being kept. The lair is here in the middle city, but it isn't far. We need to go there. I didn't know Azatas were capable of telepathy. Oh yeah, I didn't move. Most Azatas do not have the ability, but what has not been given to you by nature you can gain with the help of magic. What agreement did you reach with Shedskin? We have agreed that I will go there to inspect the merchandise, and she will spell the doors of her secret hideout to let me in. I see. Well then, let's go get Ivy. Of course, meet me at the entrance to Shedskin's hideout. Where is that? Or is it the Grim Mansion? Far from the Fleshmarkets.
Let's head out.
I'm gonna guess that it's actually the Grim Mansion. So let's portal it. You didn't tell me where to go, just that it's not far. What's around here? Oh, you can simply just walk around to this. So the only other place would be behind, like around here. There's might as well check both.
Tread lightly.
Okay, so it's not the Grim Mansion. So it might very well be over here. Teleport now. Thank you.
I'm gone.
Oh. It's literally right there, and I probably could have followed him. I'm stupid. Ooh. Hold her tight. The mistress said this slave is more dangerous than the others. It's a kitsune. Is there someone else that... Oh, hello. What luck? Early Sunset nods contentedly. We will return with the escaped property to Shedskin and either get Ivory in return or demand a significant reduction in the price to buy her back. I would call this plan reasonable. If we weren't dealing with demons, they will certainly try to deceive us. However, we're not risking anything by negotiating. I have a counter-offer. Let me escape and go my own way. I'm not going to do business with the slavers at all. Let's release this fugitive and free Ivu by force if necessary. I like you. I am Charming Minx. What's your plan? If I get out, I'll find you and treat you to something that will delight your senses. Early Sunset frowns but removes the enchantment. Selena has come here from Golarion, from a city called Dresden. Perhaps we should help you escape the abyss. No need, I have things to do here. Someone owes me a lot of money, so goodbye, for now at least. Okay. As well relieve them of all their belongings, so I can make more money. It's another projection and the guard. Selena, you're finally here. I missed you so much. And you, evil demon, didn't believe me when I said my friends would save me. Oh, that reminds me. She set up an ambush. The familiar projection of Ramisa Shedskin appears next to Ivu's cell. How is it that my handsome buyer turned out to be a fake? He brought the owner of this dragon larva to my lair. Should I be surprised? The demon lets out a mocking laugh. Did I mention that I treat every act of the slave trade as a performance? This is my plan for this scene. The hero thinks she has foiled the villainess's plans and is about to free her pet. But she is ambushed and instead of forced to compromise her principles. So which will it be? Will you try to fight my guards, or will you pay 100,000 gold coins and walk away humiliated? You stole the dragon from me and now you're trying to sell it back to me? The demon laughs loudly. You are in the abyss, you foolish creature. The abyss, do you understand? I'm guessing the option for the 100,000 gold pieces isn't there because I don't have it. I think I'm like 94,000. You'll wish you never met me, Shed Skin.
Let's have some fun.
That's a lot more people than I expected. Greater command. Fall. Halt. I think it's halt that I use, yeah. However, we're going to do the same thing. Do I have any? I haven't all of them. Oh, we fully rested when... I think we fully rested when the Hand of the Inheritor healed us. But we still have all our buffs on. Timey-wimey. Greater command. I need to meta magic you. Let's give you a yellow border. Maybe orange. Maybe that orange. 7. Right spell. Here we go. We scroll down here. Greater command because the DC is 29. All our enemies halt. I need to target a creature. Screw it, you'll do. Did you cast it? Oh no, she's got that on as auto attack. I think that messed it up. Yeah, I think the auto attacks just screw everything up, which is unfortunate. Do you know why they call me Shed Skin? Because I prefer not to appear in the flesh. All my enemies see is a projection, a shell, and attacking it will not kill me. Enjoy your victory, outsider. Everything will soon change. Are you really going to let this go? We rescued Ivu and she's safe. Shouldn't we make the slavers pay for what they did? Yes, we have to do something. They grabbed me and hurt others, many, many others. They are bad. What do you want to do? Let's go to that nasty market and free all the slaves. Haha, wait, that's what a little kid would say. Let me say it another way. Ivy takes a deep breath, wrestling with her emotions. We can't defeat the entire abyss and change everything here forever. But if we retreat, the demons will keep doing whatever they want. We need to show everyone, including those poor slaves, that there is a way out and that these filthy demons can be defeated. I can only add that our dear Shedskin is not as cunning as she thinks. I tracked down the source of her projection. She is currently at the Fleshmarkets. If you go there now, you may catch her. Yeah. If we can free the slaves and help even a single person, that's what we're going to do. Good luck, I'll be nearby in case any powerful forces come to aid of the slavers. Just all +2s, yeah. Ooh, except for you. +2s. There's nothing else in
Let's
here.
head out.
So, we are going to do that tomorrow. Because I need to get ready for work. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow with more Pathfinder. And then Thursday I'm doing Midnight Suns for Mementos, Channel Point Redemption, and Friday as well. Then I'm not sure what I'm doing Saturday and Sunday. I may do more Pathfinder. I may do Halls of Torment, which I played last night and kind of hooked on. It's kind of like Vampire Survivors meets Soulstone Survivors. It's more akin to Soulstone Survivors though. But yeah, I need to find someone to raid. And we shall go and raid. Let's raid Tug. He's playing Above Snakes. No idea what that is. I've seen other people, well, I've not watched them play it, but I've seen people listed as playing it on Twitch, so we will see. But yeah, I will be back tomorrow with more Pathfinder. And I hope to see you there. Bye!